Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 170 of Heavy Metallurgy. Been 170-ish Friday since we've embarked on this journey, and I got the best in the business to my right, to my
Damn
left,
right you do.
flanking me,
hmm
my wingman, my goose, the goose to
Mm,
my maverick.
we got you back.
How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a busy day, but a fun day. Took a little boy to see a Star Wars exhibit at the local museum, and yeah, just trying to do a few fun last minute things here in the summer before we get back to school next week.
Wow, you guys start a little early. We don't go until after Labor Day, so
Yeah, they changed it because they try to get the kids in a little earlier to get everything done and done. So there's like a clean break at Christmas where their fall semester is kind of all done. So it's like, okay, fair enough. It also lets them get out earlier in the spring rather than staying way up into June.
oh, happy birthday to Wade. If it's past, happy belated birthday to Wade.
Cheers, Wade.
Yeah, just been a hot super hot week here as well, which is good. I don't have a lot of work. Hey, if anybody out there has a band or a label or something, they need some shirts done, hit your boy up. I've got some space to get some in. So if you need some shirt work done, come hit me up. And also, we want to raise our glasses real quick to our friend Ken Escobedo over at Ken's Death Metal Crypt, who today put up his last video.
This is the end. Yep.
Yep, he's going to be towards the end of the month, I think the 29th or so. He said he's going to be completely start the deletion process of the Death Metal Crypt.
Yep, both on YouTube and on Instagram. The Instagram is all getting deleted as well. He's basically kind of closing down all his social media stuff.
Yep, which hopefully we can get him on here again. When we tried getting him on here a month or so ago, and he was all okay to go, and then at the last minute he couldn't do it. So we'll hopefully try to get him on here again. So hopefully it won't be the last time you see that handsome young devil on the internets again. So
yeah, I know. A lot
cheers
of folks
to you. Go ahead.
Oh, I know a lot of folks, are very upset about it, but he's been doing it for 10 years and has put a lot of work into it. So, and, he's made it very clear. There's no conspiracy theory here. Melanie and Justin Horval, didn't tie him up in a chair and, beat him into submission so they could take over YouTube or anything like that. 10 years is a long time to do anything. So he's just ready to kind of move on to, do other stuff. And that's great. So Ken, we wish you the best. You're always welcome to come chat on a Friday night if you'd like to.
100%.
Anytime. So, but yes, to the point though, Ken, has said very freely, folks are welcome to, download, videos from the channel before he takes it all down. So if there are certain episodes or demos or whatever he had posted and you want to help, preserve and archive those videos, you've got basically until late August to do so. He did
Apparently
point out
that
a couple of people have done a bunch of, have kind of archived a bunch of it. But again, you never know when those folks might, disappear. Sometimes we tend to think that once something's put online, it lasts forever. Well, this is a good example of it doesn't. So, if there's something that's really important to you, find it, mark it, and save it.
Right, and before we get our awesome guest out here, we should probably run through the list today of new releases. As many of you know, or maybe don't know, Fridays are typical release day in the music industry, and the metal world is no exception.
Yeah, so we should also say though hi to this. Kieran getting to catch us live for the first time from the UK. So very cool.
Right on,
catching us live. Thanks for tuning in. And we know it's late over there. We appreciate you staying up and spending a little time with us.
We got a lot of European folk on here. Mike here, Germany represent, and congratulations all the Night Owls for joining us. We appreciate you so much.
We do. But I'm sorry, Marty. Please take us through the new releases. There were so many last week. I don't know if there's much left to be released.
Yeah, this week looks a little on the skimpish side to me. Nothing I'm super excited about. Well, some I guess. Anyway, for Friday, August the 2nd, let me get my thing up here since I actually did do this. All right. Let's start off here. A Night in Texas, Digital Apocalypse on Unique Leader. Assenblut Ensfesselt on Massacre. I'm sure I nailed it. That looks German. Mike, how'd I do? Big one here. Blind Guardian, Somewhere Far Beyond Revisited on Nuclear Blast. Reissue of that classic. Carnophage, Matter of a Darker Nature on Transcending Obscurity Records. Hyrax, Faster Than Death EP on Dementia Records. Lord of the Lost, live at Wacken Open Air on Napalm. Mr. Misery, self-titled on AFM. Mourner's Lament, A Grave Farewell on Personal Records. Poison Ruin, Contreras EP on Relapse. Shadow Knell, self-titled on Relapse. Steve Hackett, 2 releases, 2 reissues. Bay of Kings and Momentum, both on Inside Out. So yeah, there you have it. I don't know, did I miss anything that you had on your list, Alan?
You did not. Again, I had pretty much nothing on my radar this week. Last week it was like, 8. I think I reviewed 7 different things last week, and there were more beyond that. So this week things have quieted down. There are good releases coming out throughout August, though, and we'll let folks know about those as they're coming up. And,
hey, Viking Skull, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Where are you moving from, and where'd you move to? Anyway, awesome. He's been waiting long enough. Let's get this awesome guy out here. Duane returns from the Lazarus channel. Laz is back, everybody. Welcome.
What's up, everybody? Hello, everybody in the chat. Happy birthday, Wade. What's going on, Frosty, Aaron, Mike, Andy, Metal Overkill, Hattori, James, Warrior. Man, all the regs are here.
Gang is all here. The whole hee-haw gang.
Yeah. Tony's here while fighting with a record player. That's never fun. Those are when record players go bad. That can be a real pain in the butt. Good luck with it, Tony.
What's been going on, Laz? How you been?
Busy, man. You know, the usual. Just busy. So
put up an awesome video today. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Yeah, been a minute, and I owed Jurgen one, and I promised him I'd get it up there, and finally got it there. Thanks, Andy. So yeah, I gotta get back on track here. Got to get back on track, and hey Alex, I got a new video to make that Ellen's talked me into here. So maybe I'll do that in the next day or two. So
it'll be a fun one. 100%.
Yeah, very, very cool one.
Should be a good one.
Right. Well, thankfully, Duane heeded the call in the fourth quarter. We're a little late this week getting things together, and actually, he'll be coming back again soon. He's got a really cool topic that we're going to mull around after off camera here and get tightened down. So we're going to come back with a really cool topic that he came up with. But tonight, we figured it's time to clean off the what's been playing shelf and go through what's been on the turntables and the CD players and the cassette decks. Do you have anybody have anything to add before we get into this, or just get into it?
Just really glad to have Duane back. It's always a great conversation.
I always appreciate the invite, guys, and you know, even though I'm really slow at the videos right now, you know, when Marty and Alan reach out and, hey, Duane, we could use you. You available? I've never said no.
You're part of the Heavy Metallurgy family.
Ready to play.
Yep, part of the family for sure, and always good to have them. It's been a while, so you're the first person I reached out to this week, so all good.
But I do agree. It is time to clean off the what's been spinning area because I got to get stuff filed, and this was the perfect call for this. So
all right, on.
Great idea.
Let's get it rolling then. It's up to you.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll start with one then here. This might actually shock you guys a little bit. You know, I'm not the biggest like death metal and black metal fan. Not that I don't dislike it. I've just never branched into that area that much. But I have been spinning the hell out of this over the past couple weeks and really digging it, especially compared to the early stuff. This is the Back from the Dead by Obituary.
Oh.
And this, you know, the John Tardy's voice on this compared to the early stuff is it's amazing how different it is. It's hard to, if you play them back to back, it's hard to say that's the same guy. But there's something about this album. It's very the riffs in it, the flow of this record is I can't help but envision like being on a train on the tracks going through like some ninth level of the abyss or in the nine hells, and I'm looking out the window and seeing this river of blood and corpses flowing. It's amazing. It's an amazing damn record.
You're taking a train through Detroit?
Yeah.
I hear it's gotten better.
But I don't know amongst like obituary fans how this ranks. To most of them might be like, oh, that album sucks, but to me, I dig the hell out of this, man. So that one was
Awesome.
first on the list.
Well, Wade's going in with knuckles flying in the pit. How about you, Alan?
Good deal. Well, let's see. I did want to point out Sunday, just put this in the chat for folks, but if you missed her comment, Dark Descent Records does have a 25% off sale going right now. You type the code SUMMER, SUMMER, all in capitals at checkout and get 25% off at Dark Descent. Riding Easy also has 25% off on stuff right now. And I think Nameless Grave still has 30% off on their distro. So it is end of summer sale season blowout spectaculars all over the place. So if you got some money to burn, you can get some deals out there at a few of the really good distros right now. So shameless plug done. Let's see. First thing I have been spending, I picked this up a month or so ago. Had never, I don't know if I'd heard it. Maybe I heard it once or twice when it came out. I didn't remember it at all. So I wanted to say didn't really ever hear it. It's the Death Angel comeback album, The Art of Dying. It's the one they did in 2004. It's kind of crazy to think that Death Angel has been back for 20 years now. And yeah, it's okay. It kind of feels like it picks up about where Act 3 left off. So in that sense, it's kind of a natural comeback album. The only problem is Act 3 left off at a place that I wasn't really keen on. It's not a terrible album, but you could tell the band was kind of drifting away from, their ultra violent days and into something that was more digestible for a bigger audience. I'm not going to say like, commercial mainstream. I don't think, Act 3 was going to be circulating in high schools with kids, buying Pearl Jam and Nirvana or anything. But I don't know, something about that album never really quite sat right with me. And this one's got a little bit of the same problem. Still has, pretty good sound overall. There are several really fast tracks on here. The speed is one of the things I do like. A lot of these tracks are very fast-paced. They're surprisingly unheavy in a way. There's not like a lot of really, meaty, classic thrash riffs going on. They're playing fast, but it feels more lightweight in construction than what you typically think of with, Bay Area thrash bands. So, I did the math. There's 11 tracks. I think there's like 5 or 6 that I think are decent. And then there's, 5 or 6 that are kind of like, that one's just not quite getting there. So it's kind of right there in the middle. It's one of those kind of, C grade albums. It's not bad, but it's not great either. I got it used. It was $8. Didn't mind checking it out for that just to see what they did upon their return. Like I said, maybe I heard this when it came out. I remember there being some hoopla when they got resurrected. But if I heard it back in the day, I had long since lost any memory of it. So, Death Angel, The Art of Dying, not a terrible record, but it is not going to make my list of, best comebacks ever. It, feels like they were maybe still a little too close to Act 3 territory for my tastes anyway.
All right.
Turning it over to you now, Marty.
This came out today. I got it earlier. I pre-ordered it, though, and I got it earlier in the week. The new Poison Ruin Contreras.
There it is.
It's an EP. It's a 45 RPM record. This is the purple edition. I heard this band a month ago. I saw a live show I watched on YouTube and remember a bunch of people like Rick and a bunch of other people on here showing off the records, and I started investigating, and I really like it. It's a Philadelphia band that sound like English punk, but a little more, not just, ready for a fight type of punk. It's just, it sounds like the old stuff. Really, late 70s era. I don't know, man. I really like it. Then you got a little bit of keyboard mix on here, and I also picked up a reissue of their 7-inch Not Today, Not Tomorrow, which is, out of all of the 3 other records I own by this band, these 2 songs, I like how they're produced. It's really raw, really well done. This has Parade of Phantoms, which is a great song, and Evaphis. I can't read that font, so I could be wrong there, but yeah, I have all the most of the Poison Ruin stuff now. I think I can satiate my my obsession, and because I need to get back off the wagon, on the wagon. I gotta get back on the wagon because homeboy don't have any money, so
it's expensive running behind that wagon.
Yeah, the wagons bucked me off too. Whenever I fall off, it's not good. It's bad, but.
It's like one of those Mario video games where you fall down and you drop all your coins and they're bouncing all over the screen. Yeah. You're running around, come back, money.
Or I'm on the wagon throwing the money off to pick up later just so I can blow it. Anyway. All right, Duane, what you got? What's next on your list?
Well, let's see. I'll go with the second CD I've got sitting here. And again, not my normal territory here either. Dipping my toe in some black metal here. But I'm curious to know if Marty's familiar with this one, or maybe even Alan. But this is a UK black metal band called Finn, and the album is Dustwalker.
Never heard of it.
No,
Wow.
Don't know that.
Fen? Oh, Fen? I thought you said Thin. Fen, yeah, I've heard of Fen. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've got a couple
I'm not
of
familiar with the music.
kind of Agalocky, the stuff I've heard, but I've only heard like their EP and another thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just all blast beat material. It's actually I don't know if I were to, I'm not the biggest, like I said, black metal fan, so it's hard for me to categorize this, but I would say if someone were to just ask me to describe it, it's melodic death metal, or black metal. There is your standard black metal vocals, but then they're overlaid with some background like choir vocals. It's an incredible sound. Very almost soundtracky sound. But really, really good stuff. Yeah, this is when did this come out? It's like 2013 maybe, or something like that. Maybe it's not that old, but yeah, Dustwalker. I think this is second or third of the last album when I looked them up. So it's not their newest, but it is pretty good. So curious, anybody in the chat know of this band? FEN.
So are you finding these in the used bin, or are you just kind of branching out a little bit? So I'm gonna try something different and do a little investigating. Yeah.
Grabbed it in the used bin, and this one happens to be a like some special package with a little necklace and everything in there, and a poster and all that. But which of course to me, I was just interested in the music really for this, and it captured me, and looking at it, and I was like, let me give that a try.
Right on.
Dug it.
Cool.
Very good. Yeah, I've heard good things about that band, but never checked them out either.
The used bin is a wonderful tool.
Indeed.
All right.
Let's see. I'll go with a vinyl one next. See, I had a single by this band for ages, and I knew they made a couple of albums. I just never had stumbled upon them. Well, one of them turned up here locally a week or two ago. It's a band out of Detroit called Dead Engine. Dead spelled D-E-D, because it's an 80s band.
Of course it
in
is.
the 80s, they did not know how to spell, and God bless them for it. I like them when they spell the names wrong.
Wouldn't want it any other way.
No, if you spelled your name right, you go sit with Stuart on the back of the bus on the Beavis and Butthead episodes. That you are not true. Anyway, yeah. So this is their first of 2 albums. This one came out in '85. It was originally supposed to be called Hot Shot, which is one of the songs, but there's no title on it, so it's really just called Dead Engine. And you check these guys out. I mean, now this is a Detroit heavy metal band circa 1985. And
They got the look.
they've got the look. These guys have been to a very, very big Judas Priest concert at some point.
I was going to say
prior to
aviator
1985.
glasses,
Yeah.
aviator sunglasses, spiked gauntlets. Yeah, it's all there. Got the
Yes,
plan.
these guys were screaming for vengeance, no doubts about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, I'd only heard the single, which was pretty good, but didn't really know what the album would sound like. It is a very, very solid album for just mid 80s US metal. It is not going to win any awards for originality. It is not going to challenge Defenders of the Faith for, top album from, the mid 80s or anything like that. But track for track, it is actually very solid. It's got kind of, a very good heavy sound. The guitars, actually, these guys can play. They've got some good leads. The vocalist has kind of a good, tough guy voice that you'd want in a traditional metal act like this. There is no sappy ballad. There is no really dippy, radio-friendly party song. It's just 10 very solid heavy metal tracks. So, I was pretty happy with this one, the way it worked out. Fun little side note, it got released on Pentagram Records, which very small label Joe Hasselvander was associated with back in the day. They only did a handful of albums, most of them kind of low budget things. There's only one or two of the bands that ever really, caught on, Pentagram being the main one. But yeah, a few other acts like Dead Engine and Devil Child also had things come out on Pentagram. It's a really short discography, though. And several of the Pentagram releases seem to have had little issues with them, like misspellings or the cover art wasn't what people expected. So yeah, the fact that somehow this one, they forgot to put Hot Shot as the title, it seems like maybe it was a bit par for the course for Pentagram as a label to make some of those kind of mistakes. But yeah, if you come across this one, I mean, it obviously screams 80s metal, but if you come across it, you're not sure, I'd say, if you can get it for a good price, this is a nice one to pick up. I was very, very happy with the way it turned out.
That would not have slipped through my fingers, I'll tell you that, if I saw that flipping through the bin.
I figured this one would be right up your alley for sure.
Yeah,
Aaron's in the chat. Yeah, Aaron's in the chat. I'm betting Aaron's.
I posted his comment here.
I'll back up and read it while you show us your next item, Marty.
Well, the that Dead Engine, I remember, being a kid in Michigan, I remember seeing the that Dead Engine ads in a bunch of magazines back in the day. They must have had some money. I don't know if it was like they were putting that in themselves, but that logo rings a very nostalgic bell. And answer me this question. Did that band change their name to Deaf Dealer?
Which band, Marty? Sorry.
Deaf Dealer?
There was a Deaf Dealer that came from Death Dealer. There's a connection there.
Okay, because I thought, I've got one of those Dead Engine records. I went up to grab it, and it was Deaf Dealer is what I had. I'm like, for some reason, I thought that they... Hey, Sue. Yep. Trying to comment on YouTube, but wanted to mention that I was in the studio with Death Angel, and they recorded The Art of Dying. Oh, right on.
Yeah.
They did a big feature in Metal Maniacs. Yeah.
Yeah, she featured Death Angel. Sue, as always, with all kinds of great knowledge from her experience back in the day. Thanks so much for sharing, Sue, and sorry you're having some tech issues. Hopefully you'll get those straightened out. We're planning to have Sue back on in September, folks, for a really fun topic.
Nice.
So Sue will be making a return in the near future also. But sorry, Marty, didn't mean to get us off base there.
All good.
Yes, Death Dealer and Deaf Dealer, there's a name change, but I think there's also more than one band that was called Death Dealer, so it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, I think they spelt it DEF. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. Anyway, well, I did that review early in the week for the new Ordinogan, and I do enjoy the album quite a bit, and I end up going back to this one to the end. I love this record. I love it. It is so utterly triumphant. The choruses on this are just... It's kind of a special record. I like the fact that there's a little bit of Swedish melodic death influence in some of the riffing. So it gives a little bit of an edge, but it's still very much Ordinogan. And like I said, the triumphant, endlessly triumphant and layered and orchestrated choruses are... I love this record. It's great. We did an album club on this to many people's chagrin, but it's fine. It's all good. Embrace the cheese. And soon you'll have Melanie from Melanie Loves Death Metal telling you about this record too, because I've corrupted her as well.
Nice. Keep
Take
flying
that,
that
internet.
power metal flag, damn it.
Take that, internet. Here we come.
Melanie
Embrace
loves
the
power
cheese.
metal. Ken is retired. Melanie's sold out and is wearing a cape and a plastic sword. It's a rough month for death metal. On YouTube.
It's all good. The corruption begins. So yeah, Ordinogan. I'm a fan.
She is foam cutting her cosplay armor as we speak.
Getting herself
She's got
fitted
the
for
elf
elf
ears.
ears.
She's got them
Yeah.
glued on so they can't come off easily.
Yep. All right, Duane, circling back to you.
Okay. I guess I'll pull this one here. So, something I've been spinning a lot of lately also, and this actually has been over the past few months, actually, is I've been enjoying, especially because I'm so busy right now. Sometimes I just want to put something on, and I have been relying for that on a lot of my comps. I've really been spinning a lot of comps lately. And this is actually a newer comp that I've picked up, but it's a good one. This is called the Singles album by Music for Nations.
Neat.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a 2-album set. It's got, as you see there, Metallica, Wasp, Exciter, Wasted, Merciful Fate, Loudness, Rogue Mail. Love my Rogue Mail. Rage
Crazy
Diamond.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Agent
Rogue Mail,
Steel.
that's one of Dwayne's classics right there. Yeah. The second Rogue Mail, if I remember right.
There's the gatefold. Yeah, Virgin Steel's on here. So yeah, two records, 4 sides of just a killer mix of metal. I love the inserts. It's kind of that noise style. How they'd always post all their albums. So yeah, this things like this have been really hitting the spot for me lately because I can just put it on, and not think about what am I going to play next. Just And the nice thing is sometimes playing these comps does make me then go, like I'll hear something like what I'm going to show next was because of what I heard on here. It was like, oh, now I got to hear that, that kind of thing. So if you have comps, don't forget to spin your comps, folks, because
They're
it's a
fun.
good way. Sometimes we get into a rut and you kind of need a reset, and a comp is a good way to do that. So
I've never seen that before. That's a cool pull. Never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Music for Nations. This was, it's a UK pressing, of course. Music for Nations. I want to say, God, 80. What's the date on here?
Maybe around 88.
There it is. 80. Yeah, it looks like 88. 86 or 88. I can't tell without my glasses. But yeah, good little comp. If you can find it, 2 albums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
that is a nice collection.
It's kind of like the Music for Nations version of the Metal Blade.
Best of Metal Blade, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Those were very instrumental in my youth, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Alan.
All right. Well, time to swerve into something that's not even remotely metal, really. In the last couple of months, I've been tinkering around in post-punk stuff for the first time in a while. It's one of those styles I'll listen to for a while and then tend to put it aside and don't come back to it for a bit. For whatever reason, I've been in the mood for some of that lately. Found this in a used bookstore a few weeks ago. I had to text Marty for advice. I'm like, is this a good one? Should I get this? And he gave it the thumbs up, so we bought it. Band I've been meaning to check out a bit more of, Dead Can Dance. This one is called Aeon.
Yeah.
I think it's from 1990. Apparently, it's the first one they did. Most folks know a lot more about this band than I do, but basically, it was like a husband-wife team. But, then they split, but they still kept making music together. And this was, I guess, the first thing they did kind of after the breakup was fully.
I think they're still going now, actually.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
They are.
Okay.
She went on to do big things like the Gladiator soundtrack, where he's walking through and rubbing his hand through the wheat. That real ethereal, that's her. I mean, she went on to big money things for sure.
Okay.
Anyway,
I
sorry.
did not know that. Cool. Yeah. No, that's cool. And yeah, this one apparently, in reading up on it, apparently it's also noted because this is one of the times where they went a lot deeper on like medieval music and started drifting more and more towards world music.
Yeah.
Which, the only other thing, long time ago, I had heard, some of their earlier stuff. And it's one of those things is like, that's kind of interesting. Circle back to it one day, but I've never gotten around to it. More recently, I picked up their live album, but that's from a few years after that. They're very much in world music mode.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's well done. I don't think it's quite for me. I need to give it some more chances, but I just don't get the sense it's something I'm really ever going to pull off the shelf. This one, though, is pretty interesting. Again, not heavy. It's not gothy or really post-punky. I don't think those are fair labels to put on the band by this point. But yeah, because some of these songs, like one of them is taken from like a 16th century Italian, traditional dance song, stuff like that's going on here. It's all very well done. It sounds good. Yes, she's got a very pretty voice. All the instrumentation. They use a lot of guest musicians on this, a lot of different types of instrumentation. I have a feeling this will be one of those things that when I'm in the mood for it, it's going to be excellent to pull off the shelf and enjoy for a few spins. I don't think it's something I'm ever going to really learn note for note or, be able to tell you instantly what song I'm hearing or play a whole lot. But yeah, it's an interesting listening. It's a very well done album. It's a very nice piece of music if you're in the mood for something like what I just described. I think moving forward, when I get the chance, I'll work backwards from this one rather than forwards.
Definitely backwards.
Yeah, there's like I know within Within the Prophecy of a Dying Sun is one that I heard years ago. That was the one I was like, I should come back to this someday, and I just
that's a big
have.
one for everybody. Yeah,
it seems to be the one a lot of people recommend. Somebody, I think it was Natalie V, who used to work at Sentinel Steel for a little bit doing reviews, had sent me that on a cassette tape years ago. So I was like, that's cool. But yeah, it's just been a long time. I will get to when a copy shows up used. That'll be the time I pick it up. So yeah, Marty, thanks for giving me the thumbs up on this. I do like it. It's just not going to be the kind of thing I play day in, day out. But it is a really cool piece of music.
Cool. No, I think if you go backwards, you're going to be really happy because it's amazing, beautiful music.
Yeah, they are. They're almost like borderline prog, and their catalog varies from album to album. I mean, there's
the first album's like post rock or post punk.
Yeah, there's like 1 minute it's like, okay, they should be like opening for The Cure, and then the next minute they could be playing at the local coffee house. I mean, they're just all over the place, but cool band, man. Cool band.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm finally, at least getting my toe dipped into them a little bit. There's so many bands out there that I've never gotten around to and stuff. Every year I try to at least work on a few of them, and Dead Can Dance is one I've gotten a little work done on this year.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I've shown this a bunch on here, and it keeps ending up in the play stack. So if I'm honest, I keep listening to this record. And Century, this is on High Roller Records. This is
nice cover.
This is Manila Road without Mark Shelton, essentially. So it's got Brian Hellroady Patrick. It's got Phil Ross IV on bass, Nudie on drums, and a new guy, Callie Goldsmith. And as you would imagine, it sounds a lot like Manila Road. Production's a bit better. There's some actual moments of speed. Of course, Nudie's an amazing drummer. Of course, Mark always surrounded himself with fantastic drummers. So, I mean, that carries over. I don't know. It's just good to hear the spirit continue on. I'm glad they stuck to it and kept going. And I would imagine if these guys play out live, they're going to throw in some Manila Road classics into their mix too, because they're not going to go up there and play this album from start to finish. Maybe they will. I don't know. But excellent record. I enjoy the hell out of it. If you like To Kill a King, which was a very kind of a mournful kind of album, kind of slower, somber sound, this is in that realm, but a little bit more life, a little bit more dynamics, and like I said, some moments of faster beats on here too. So I don't know. I really like this record. I think they did a great job. And yep, it sucks that Mark the Shark's no longer with us, but the fact that his band is carrying on and doing some awesome things, I think it's awesome. Yeah. I think he would have wanted it that way. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I keep meaning to get around to that and just have not had the time yet, but it's on my radar. You've recommended it highly, so it will get played whenever I can squeeze it in.
I mean, don't expect. I mean, I don't know. You're not going to be going into it thinking Crystal Logic or whatever, but it's well produced later day Manila Road with a few modern twists, I would say, but still epic heavy metal, 100%. It's really good. I enjoy it.
Good deal. Hey, is that good to see you in the chat there?
All right. What you got, Duane?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I think, Marty. That looks really tasty.
Give it a sample. I got it from them before they ran out on their Bandcamp. So their next purchase might be overseas, which sucks. But who knows? Maybe they got a restock. I haven't looked in a while.
Wouldn't be the first time for that.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, quick shout out to hi Vance. What's up, VK? And then I didn't see him at first, so I got to give a shout out to my boy Davey Day from Australia there. So glad to see you guys came on in. Okay, so like I was saying with the comp, I was like, oh crap, now I got to hear some Fate, right? And so that just really put me in the mood. I'm like, yeah, I haven't spun some Fate for a while, so now I got to do that. And I didn't pull what I would normally pull. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to force myself to pull something that I haven't spun in a long time. So I pulled Curse of the Pharaohs.
I like that.
That's a good pull. That's a cool pull. Yeah.
And I mean, normally it'd be like, okay, Don't Break the Oath, Melissa. For me also Time. Actually, I love that album. And I'm like, no, I'm going to pull Curse of the Pharaohs. And the cool thing about this is when I discovered Fate, I discovered them on Don't Break the Oath. This was the second thing I bought ever from Merciful Fate.
Huh.
So I got this before Melissa even. So
right on.
Yeah. And for those collector peeps out there, this is an original first press with the Made in England sticker. For those that know, there's a difference in the first press and the others. The made in the UK sticker, and then the.
Well, now I gotta know. Let me go grab mine. Hold on.
Grab yours, and I'll tell you about it. Open this up so I can show what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't got that, it is a very cool collection of sort of like early Fate demos.
Yeah,
and stuff. Some of the songs have different titles and different sections to them.
It's been repressed a few times, and it's been repressed recently, as a matter of fact, on like colored vinyl and stuff like that. But yeah, so
mine's got an orange sticker on it, but it doesn't say Made in England. It says something else.
Okay.
On it.
So yeah, the first press has Made in England or Made in the UK on it. And then also when you look at the label, the apostrophe S on the Satans, see how they're close together? On the later pressings, they should be farther apart.
On the what? The apostrophe S?
S on Satan's.
Oh. My eyes are so utterly.
While Marty's checking that out, Ash is reminding folks, King Diamond just announced he's got a big North American tour kicking off and taking Overkill and Night Demon out. So that's a hell of a lineup.
With the lady from Merker doing backup instead of King's wife.
Yep.
Okay, Satan. So the gap, if there's a gap, it's a first press?
It's a later press.
Okay, so mine doesn't have a gap.
So you have an earlier one then.
Let me see here.
Yes, that's an earlier one. If not a first. Maybe someone took your sticker off. Because that's the same as mine. And then if you still have the original inner sleeve, it's one of the Maiden.
There's an inner sleeve. Hold on, show that.
Made in Great Britain stamped on it.
Yep, Made in Great Britain, GH.
There you go. I bet you someone just took your sticker off.
Huh, cool.
So, but, and this was absolutely phenomenal, to spin this again. I was like, man, I haven't listened to this in a long time. And so, Alex, it's been called a boot. My understanding is when I bought it, I bought my copy used, early, and this was early on, and it was used. But to my understanding, this was actually first a fan club issue only. So the word still kind of out on that. From my knowledge, I've heard it as a fan club issue only, and I've heard it as a bootleg. So
Did this come out at the same time? Did they release them simultaneously?
that's later.
It says 1002. This is 1001, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I think
Couple
3
years
total
later,
that's on that in that little series from Satan's Nightmare. But yeah,
But
I don't know, Duane. I've heard, but now again through the grapevine, that at least King Diamond considers those bootlegs. That at least back in the day, he would not autograph copies of that for fans if they brought him
is
to,
that
like, record signings. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't sign bootlegs. And he wasn't a dick about it. He's just like, I'm just not going to sign a bootleg. So he didn't consider them to be official releases.
I got to show something else. Hold on. Let me go grab it.
King. You know what? I wonder if he still feels that way, because it's this kind of stuff back in the day that fueled me to continue to buy their shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, they may not have gotten revenue from it if that's the case, if it's a true boot, but it still fueled the fandom, you know? And so,
yeah. And that tidbit was told to me long ago. So yes, he could have a very different position on it by now.
yeah, there you go, Marty. Nice.
I walked into Camelot Records or Camelot Music
Nice.
back in the day, and they were both sitting there. I'm like, what the hell are these things? And here they were, sitting on the shelf. I scrounged up the money to buy them. And if they're bootlegs, how would Camelot have them on their shelf? I mean, I didn't realize that
That
they...
is weird. Yep.
That's what I mean. It's to my knowledge, there's never been an official solid like blam. I think even Discogs, last I looked, showed that stuff is like official / unofficial. Like they don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when was the last time you spun that, Marty?
It's been a minute.
Right?
It's been a minute, yeah. But I mean, it's great. All the demos, they sound good, you know, and it's cool. It's cool hearing different versions of songs that went on to be other songs, you know?
Yep. And it's lengthy. I mean, it's a good spin.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
good
not just like 90-second sound clips or anything. They're actually working out the songs on them.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, and for anybody that goes and looks for those, because they are really good, there's a picture disc version,
Which Alan
that's
has.
a hybrid of the two.
Yep.
It has the one side looks like Marty. Hold up that Live from the Depths of Hell tape again, please, or the vinyl. Yeah, the front of the picture disc has that image on it, but
Which is a cool ass cover.
is a very cool cover. Yes, one side of the picture disc has half of that. That's a live recording by the band.
Yep.
But the flip side of the picture disc has half of the one that Duane has showed, the Curse of the Pharaohs demos on it. So yeah, the picture disc is really confusing because it kind of looks like one, but it has half the music from one and half the music from the other on it. So if you want just the live one, make sure you get just the LP Marty showed. And if you want just the demos, make sure you get the one Duane showed. And if you want a hybrid, if you're a sick little monkey like me, you get the picture disc and you've got all three, and you can play whatever you want.
I got those. I mean, I bought these new in Camelot when I was younger, like high school. And
I don't know how in the world Camelot would have gotten something like as a fan club issue either. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
That's as weird as having a bootleg in the store. They would have gotten.
But the vinyl, I paid. There are probably two records I've paid the most I ever paid for. I bought them for $60 a piece. I got them off of eBay back when eBay first started. And I was trying to get all these rare Merciful Fate things, and I can't even imagine what those would cost now. I have no fucking idea. It can't be cheap because I don't think it was ever kept in press. So whatever's out there is out there, you know.
Well, Duane was saying they have been reissued, so there should be versions that are affordable.
Yeah, there are. I saw them in the record store. I was like, "Whoa, Curse of the Pharaoh!" And then I looked. I'm like, "Oh, this is like a reissue, bootleg reissue thing. It's colored vinyl and so." But I mean, cool for those that don't have it. I mean, you can get it for $20-$30.
Yeah, a bootleg is good when they actually reissue the bootleg.
yeah. I mean, it's a cool collection.
Whatever it is. Yeah, the fact that it's been reissued tells you it must be a pretty good collection, which it is.
And really, the live set, it's like from the '80s. It's got I don't know if it says a date on here.
I don't recall.
Doomed by the Living Dead's on here. He's got Lord's Prayer backwards, where he goes and says the Lord's Prayer backwards. I mean, just all
Is
the
there
shit
any
they were
oath
doing.
material on it, Marty? I seem
It
to remember
does. It
most of
does. It has the oath on here for side 2.
Okay. I seem to remember it being mostly pre-oath material, but I could be wrong.
Evil or Gypsies on here.
Okay.
So this is second album era show, but cool stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that's an awesome one, Duane.
That's a good pull. Yeah, I mean, I haven't spun it in a while, and if you're going to look at all the Merciful Fate, it's kind of cool. Like, you know what?
And there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We all have a lot of Merciful Fate, and so I was literally like, I always go buy it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sliding this out and putting it on,
Yep.
And so.
All right, Alan, you are up next.
All right, I'll do another vinyl one. Something else I stumbled into locally. This was weird to find in a local store, but I'm glad I did. They had a copy of Atrocity's first album, Hallucinations, on vinyl, and it's
Love
actually
that Giger-esque cover there.
Yeah, very strange cover, and it's actually a white label test press of all things. I'm just like, what? You're coming home with me.
Yep.
And so, in talking to the guy at the store, whoever brought it in actually had also brought in a white label test press of their second album too. I can never pronounce the name, Toten or something, and it had already sold, which I was kind of like, crap. It would have been cool to get both of them, but I do have a CD copy of the second album. I didn't have any copy of Hallucination, so I was really happy that at least I got that particular one. Yeah, most folks are probably familiar with this one. It's pretty cutting edge death metal for 1990. A lot of folks will compare it to like Death, maybe a little bit of like early Atheist from that time. The thing that people sometimes forget to tell you, and I didn't realize till I sat down and went through the lyrics, it's also a concept album. It basically
Very fucked up concept too.
And it's one of the most depressing stories you could ever want to commit to vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole thing is basically following the life of this girl. She gets abused as a little kid by her dad. And so then she grows up and becomes a junkie, and to pay for junk, she becomes a prostitute. And then her and her friend try to clean themselves up, and they almost make it. But of course, then the friend relapses and overdoses. And so then she falls back into it and overdoses. And so at the end of the album, everyone's just dead. It's
Next
just like,
on the
the
hallmark.
only way to make this story any sadder is if somehow there was like a puppy that was sick worked into it. It really is just a total depressing one to read along with in the lyrics. I don't recommend it.
Up next on the Hallmark channel, Hallucinations for Christmas.
Yeah, she was a successful young girl in business school, but got lost in downtown Detroit. And the next thing you know, she's full of drugs and selling her body until a man finds her and straightens her out.
But the man was actually Saint Nick, the son of Saint Nick. He didn't know it, but then he found out. She helped him discover that she was the son of Saint Nick. Yeah.
Oh, those Hallmark movies at the holidays drive me nuts. My mother-in-law has that.
My wife loves them. It's
my mother-in-law has that just dialed in for the entire month of December, and it's just like, up next, another female actor who was popular in the 1980s will play a successful woman who realizes it's better to just have a man make the decisions for her while she cooks. It's just like, oh God.
You've seen better acting
Happy
on
holidays,
porno?
everyone.
Sure you have. Yep.
But anyway, yes, Hallucinations, it's obviously regarded quite highly, and deservedly so. It's just, don't sit down and read the lyrics unless you want to have a bit of a downer, because yes, it is a just wretchedly awful story. And it's also, of course, their English is a little bit, there's an accent in the lyrics, which sometimes makes the word choices just seem even worse, as if it could already get worse from this horrible story to begin with. But good album. Really grateful that I was able to find a copy of it and just walk into the store. I walked in last weekend because, like we said, a bunch of stuff came out July 26th. I'm like, maybe they'll have one of the new CDs out. Instead, I walk out with an Atrocity the test press. So, I'll take that deal.
Hell yeah, all day.
All right, Marty, over to you, sir. I'll catch up on some comments in the chat here.
All right, I've shown these, but I continue to listen to them. I got the new Dodd Strit record, Nocturnal Will. This album is really, really good. I've heard some of their early stuff. It's very D-beat, crusty black metal style. This here is way more epic. They just kind of a lot more solo work, really epic harmonies on here, guitar harmonies. Really great black metal record, but super well produced. Check out this waste of money.
Wow.
We're going to do this gatefold, guys. Okay, this is the image we're going to submit for the gatefold. Okay. I wonder if this is their intention or if the plant got it a bit too dark. I don't know, but I believe these guys are from Sweden. Is that right? I want to say it. Check me out there in the chat. I'm pretty sure it is Sweden. But this is their fourth-ish. I'm going to be digging in. I've wanted to get their other stuff before, but I just didn't want to pay import price for it. You know, that extra shipping. But I think there's, I think Arcane Altar has a couple copies of the newer stuff. That's where I got this one from. So I'll circle back around and snag them here when I'm back on the money train. But this is a great record. I was really kind of blown away at the playing and the evolution on here. They kind of dropped the D-beat vibe and went for more of an epic, I don't want to say power metal because it's black metal, but it's just they went for a more lively melodic vibe on this one. Very good record, so definitely check it out. Gonna be probably in my year-end list. I know it was on Melanie's, but that's what made me go circle back around. We got a promo for it too. I just never got around to checking it out, but here it is. I got it. It's good stuff.
Cool.
All right, Duane.
Okay, this one's going to be a twofer because they just go together. But back to the comp situation, and I think that actually, if Alan, if you don't have these, this might, I would definitely say these are up your alley. You need to check these out if you don't have them.
Okay.
And this is they're two comps, and it's Real Steel. So this is Real Steel 1, and then Real Steel 2. And let's see, it says on here, rare 7-inch singles from the 70s and 80s, U.S. hard rock and metal underground. And then Real Steel 2 is rare 7-inch singles from the 80s, U.S. metal underground. So it's kind of like the first one. The one I have is it's a numbered limited 40 out of 189 or something like that. But I think it's been pressed again. But they're kind of like, what's that other comp? Shoot, what's that other one? I think they're on number 2 now. Yeah, I can't think of it. Anyway, yeah, it's all 7-inch singles from rare 7-inch singles. I'll give you some band names here. Buster Cherry, Lust, Shadow, Loose Lips, Sabotage, Heavy Metal Kids, Sabotage, Sledge, LA Rocks, Quick, Laser, World War III, Swift Kick, and Rival, Crimson Cross, Strychnine, Strike Force, Vicron, Final Dawn, Liquid Earth, Intruder, Sanction, Red Ruin, Strike Force, Wicked Sin, and Vengeance are the bands that are on these things. But these are very enjoyable. And what's fun about spinning stuff like this is you don't know it like other albums that we just play all the time. So I've probably listened to these probably 4 or 5 times now, and each time I'm like picking out another track on there that I'm like, God, that one's starting to get hooky to me now. So if you like that rare obscure heavy metal single stuff, grab these comps because they're some good ones.
Yeah, those are really good, Duane. I'm familiar with them. I don't have them. I have a lot of the tracks from those. Almost everything you read off on the track list there is good, and they're all culled from old 7-inch singles for the most part.
Right.
And so some of them I've got the singles for. There are a few things you read off there that are like top items on my want list that I have not been able to find the singles for. Like that Crimson Cross single is amazing. The Strychnine one is impossible to find. The World War III is really good, and that's a very high dollar hard to find record. I don't know who exactly put those together, but yeah, someone brought them up when they came out. Someone really dug deep into the like hardest to get U.S. private 7-inch stuff to splice those together from. They're like, for example, the Red Ruin you mentioned.
Mhm.
I only know of like maybe 2 or 3 collectors that own that single. It's on everybody's want list, and I've seen like maybe 2 copies of it come up for sale in 15 years. It is very hard to find stuff.
Wow. It is both of them. Yes, it's from the same. It's Rhodes Scholar Records. Rhodes, like Randy Rhodes.
Yeah, I wonder
Scholar
who's behind.
Records is who put them out.
Yeah, I don't know who's behind that, but it's someone who's got good connections in the cult collectors market, because that's not stuff you can find almost anywhere. That's about as obscure as you're going to get in U.S. metal. Some of the stuff you just reeled off, but it's good stuff too. To be clear,
It's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a bunch of amateur tracks clanging around that sound like crap. No, they are really, really strong songs for 80s U.S. metal fans. So,
All right.
that's
metal. That's that other comp I was thinking of. Scrap metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kinda
scrap
reminds
metal
me
is
of
similar. Yeah. The one done on Riding Easy has done a couple of volumes of that. And yes, they're doing the same kind of thing. But if scrap metal's like on level 4 in the underground, those Real Steel ones are like, those go to 11. The stuff on those, some of those singles I will probably never see in my life.
Wow.
All right. Nice one. Alan, you're up.
All right. Let's see. Well, next on the CD stack is this. Been trying to work through discographies for some bands I just haven't played in a long time. Sometimes you wake up, you look around and realize it's been 5 or 6 years since you played a Royal Hunt album. Time to correct that. Royal Hunt out of Denmark. They're progressive metal, lowercase kind of p here, where it's think again something like Dream Theater, but much more song oriented, much less just random noodling around with weird time signatures. They've been around since the earliest 90s. I think they formed in 91. They are still going. They've released a lot of studio albums. They've gone through several different vocalists, but they've always had pretty good luck with strong vocalists. The one I've got here that I'm showing is simply called 1996. It's a double CD live album. It covers material from their first 3 albums. And what's interesting about that is the first 2 albums had their original vocalist, who is okay, but he's probably, I'd say, he's an average vocalist. For the 3rd album, they replaced him with DC Cooper, who is an amazing vocalist, really good voice for this style of metal. And so the 96 live album has tracks from those first 3, but it's with DC Cooper singing on the tracks from those first 2 albums. And he brings a lot of extra life to that material. So they sounds much, much better than it did on the first 2 studio records. It's a very well-regarded live album, good crowd interaction and stuff, really good set of tracks. The only issue is, you do end up with there's a guitar solo and a drum solo and a keyboard solo. So there's a lot of solos spliced into the live set. But beyond that, the track list is impeccable for those first 3 albums. It's a good introduction to the band if folks are interested in that style, but look at this giant catalog and don't know where to start. 96 chronicles the early part of their history nicely. They also, later did a 2006 live album that kind of chronicled the middle of their history, and they did a 2016 live album that chronicled what they've done in more recent years. And it's one of those cases where the live albums are actually very good and worth picking up. I'm not always a huge fan of live albums, but the Royal Hunt ones have always been really good. So yeah, if you want something, again, those kind of more progressive bands, like maybe Seventh Wonder is a more recent good comparison. They're very talented, but they still write songs that are songs. The emphasis is on putting together a good song, not on showing you how many strings they can bend in a 8/16 time signature or some bullshit. So yeah, Royal Hunt, I never hear folks talk about them. I'm going to do a video about their catalog sometime soon. So if folks want more information, they can check that out when I get it put up on my channel.
Seems like I got a promo for Royal Hunt back in the Maniacs days, and it was such a bad Photoshop cover. I mean, for the time, it was
I can probably even name the album it was.
I'm like, I'm not listening. There's no way I'm going to like this at this point in my life. Now I would probably love it, but then I was nope, not happening.
Yeah, they were associated with Century Media for a couple of albums, so there was a push, and a couple of those albums, yes, the covers are exactly what you described. But yeah, some of their albums are better than others, but overall their catalog's really strong.
All right. Well, edited up at Melanie's Hyperdontia review the other day and liked what I was hearing. I'm like, you know what? I think I have one of their CDs, and I went out in the pile of things I've listened to either not at all or once, and sure enough, Hideous Entity was in there. So I threw this in the player, and you know what? It's really solid. It's really not that far out of step with what you would expect what's going on in old school death metal these days. But the guy from Turkey, he's also in the band Engulfed, and a couple others, I believe. This is kind of his thing. And the riff work on here is exceptional. They're not really doing much to break away into their own sound, if you know what I mean. It's very much a deep, guttural death metal, modern death metal entity trying to sound older, but it's really well done. The riffs are good. Pretty cool cover artwork too. I believe this is a Wes Benscotter. God, I'll get that right. But yeah, listened to it a couple times this week. It's an enjoyable album. And on Dark Descent, so you could probably zip over there for the 25% off. Type in summer at your closeout, and you will get this CD for 25% off. You're welcome, Matt. And yeah, check it out. Pretty good, solid death metal. Duane.
Nice. Let's see. Here's one from Marty, if he doesn't know it, since I did one for Alan.
Here we go. You're hitting a guy when he's off the wagon, remember. On the wagon, I mean.
You may already have this. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen you mention them. They're kind of a special taste. We're talking power metal here. This is... oh,
dude. I've got their two latest. Their two latest albums.
Secrets of the Magic Grimoire.
I like them.
Yeah, it's power metal, European power metal, very polished in the production, very polished. But I like what they're doing. They've got that, just like you see on the cover here, the more folky type of thing, the Viking paint, the antlers and all that stuff. And the music fits it. And it is, when you're done watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you want to go put this on.
I might have that one. I don't know.
Yeah, this one is on vinyl. This pressing was 250 units, but this was 2017 is when this one came out.
I might not. Let me look here. I can tell you. Let me look up the archives.
I know they got a lot. I think this band has 10 albums or something like that.
I've got Reader of the Runes, Reader of the Runes Rapture, and Reader of the Runes Divination. So I have their two latest. So yeah, I don't have that one. It's good. They're good though. It's a good band.
Yeah. So really, really good stuff. And sometimes when I just want that escapism, that's when I start getting into some of that really high polished power metal stuff like this, because it's that almost, it could be almost used as soundtrack material, you know what I mean, to the fantasy film. It's just that good. Yeah, so okay, well, cool. So glad you know of them. But yeah, they got quite a catalog for being a younger power metal band. Like I said, I think they got 10 albums or something like that. So
they started, their first demo came out in 2000. They've got, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 albums. 11. They've been productive. Yeah.
So that's an album every 2 years, I guess, right?
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a cool pick. I like them. They're a good band. I haven't heard anything older, but yep. All right,
So,
Alan.
All right, let's see. Next on the stack. Been revisiting early Tiamat, Sumerian Cry. This is just the white cover, not the one with the early Necrolord cover. Just hadn't heard any early Tiamat in ages. So I was like, yeah, let's go back. I've been trying to revisit a few of these kind of things too, and we'll see a couple more examples of this as the night goes on. Some of these like early albums by European death metal bands that ended up doing pretty well for themselves, but often evolving and kind of changing their sound. So the early stuff's much rawer than what they became known for, and that would definitely apply to Tiamat. This ain't no Wild Honey. But yeah, it's a pretty simple album overall. If no one's ever checked it out, it's pretty basic. You can tell they don't have the best chops as musicians yet. The drumming in particular on a lot of these songs, it's pretty like let's hit one drum at the same speed for a real long time. There's nothing too fancy going on most of the time. But that said, it's got a very cool, dark kind of aura to it. Very deep vocals, but decipherable. Not going for totally wet guttural or anything. So yeah, it just creates a nice kind of dark, I'd say evil atmosphere, but it's a little bit more like a culty atmosphere. It's not just blasphemy and Satan. It's got more we're going down in the cave to do the ritual with the guys kind of thing. So what they lacked in technicality, they definitely kind of nailed in terms of atmosphere for it. Not going to win prizes. It doesn't come up all that often, I've noticed in discussions for early 90s death metal, but it has some neat little trivia tidbits with it. For example, it was Necrolord's first commission for a piece of cover art. The guys kind of knew him through friends, and he had just started dabbling in painting. They're like, "Oh, cool. Would you do something for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Turns out that worked out okay for him. And this also was the first kind of death metal production done at Sunlight Studios.
All right, on.
They recorded this before Entombed went in to do Left Hand Path. This was recorded like in summer of '89, summer or early fall of '89. Nicky Anderson, the guys came in a couple months later and laid down the tracks for Entombed. It's just that when it came to the release schedule, Left Hand Path came out, at the start of 1990, and this didn't come out until about April or maybe May of 90. So this got recorded first, but released second. So it didn't quite get the, credit as being the first Sunlight album. In a way, maybe that's for the best, because like I said, it is a bit primitive, borderline amateurish sounding. If this had come out first, I don't know if it would have wowed people on the Sunlight production values the way that Left Hand Path did when it first dropped. But nevertheless, glad I went back and gave this some spins. It is the kind of thing, even though it's kind of simple sounding, I can find some enjoyment in. I like the bands that develop this kind of darker atmospheric vibe, even at the cost of maybe some advanced musicianship. So yeah, Tiamat's Sumerian Cry, that nice kind of early relic from the European death metal scene. And they also, they didn't really sound like any other band that came out of Sweden at that time. It's almost like more of a weird cross of Amorphous and maybe Therion. Early Therion would be the closest thing I can think of. So they take like Of Darkness and put in a little bit of Corellian Isthmus, but make it sound like the bands are still learning to play. And then maybe we're in the right ballpark for Sumerian Cry.
For me, the you mentioned there that they didn't sound like everybody coming out at the time. And honestly, I applaud them for sticking to their guns and having their own sound, but it was kind of a detriment to them that they didn't sound like everybody at the time, I think.
That's probably a very good point, Marty. Yeah, because that sound became so popular so fast. The fact that they weren't on that same wagon probably, cost them some momentum. But they went down such a different path.
They really did.
That maybe in the long term it didn't matter.
Yeah.
There's very good point. Bands that unfortunately took that left fork in the road.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. Wade agrees that maybe early Therian is a good reference point. So cheers, Wade. Thanks for backing me up on that one.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Okey
Marty.
doke.
What else you been listening to?
Well, I did that Limbonic art review a while ago, and it kind of got me thinking about other. Well, Moon and the Scorpio was a favorite, but I was trying to think of other bands from that era, and I remember thinking this album was average when I got it. This is a Nocturnal Art Productions promo of Odium's Sad Realm of the Stars, which is a band that went on tour with, I think, Limbonic Art. They did some touring with Emperor as well, I think. But yeah, this is for those of you who don't know, Nocturnal Art Productions was Samus' label.
Mm-hmm.
That he dabbled with and put out a handful of releases, but I can't remember where these guys are from. I think they're Norwegian, but I pulled this out of the old promo box the other day and went out and listened to it, and it rips a lot harder than I remember it ripping. It's just really good symphonic black metal, very synth heavy, very much in the realm of, I could tell why Samus said, I'm going to sign this to my label, because it reminded him of something that he was very intimately involved in, namely Emperor. So yeah, Sad Realm of the Stars by Odium. I think this has been repressed in the last... Yep, thanks, Jeremy, for backing me up there. This is repressed the last year or two. I could be wrong, but I know there's been some vinyl copies floating around. So, yeah, this is a really good record for sure.
Yeah. I remember seeing that back in the day, but yeah, I never got to hear it.
Sorry, Wade.
Sorry, Wade.
Hope you got some birthday money to soften the blow.
But yeah, check out Odium, Sad Realm of the Stars. It's really well done.
Nice.
Let's see. Balsagoth was active by that time. Yep, you're right, David.
Did someone say Balsagoth?
Yep.
Well, that's my next poll.
Okay,
I'll
we'll
just
come
leave
back
that
to
right
that
here.
in a minute, David.
I'll just leave that right here. Okay. Okay, Duane.
Okay, let's see this next one. Now, this one, I would say, out of almost everything I've shown tonight, if there's one album I would like to really promote to people out there to say, you've got to go get this. It's a 2-album band. They got 2 albums out. This is the second album, and it came out almost 10 years ago now, I think. But if you like speed metal, if you like Motorhead, this is a band called Ripper, and this is a 3-piece from Oregon. Got a female bass player here. Her name is Mira, if I remember right. Smoking bass player. Holy shit. But this band, the name absolutely fits. Absolute killer speed metal. Motorhead on a little bit of speed is how I would describe this. His voice is not quite as deep as Lemmy, close, but same style. But this is just an absolute smoking frickin' record, man. 8 tracks of just, yeah. If there's anything to put on the turntable, that you want to get pumped up, you want to get energized, you want to, get some blood flowing. This thing right here, this will shatter the marrow in your bones. This is just an absolute killer record. So I still need to get the first one. But this is the second one. It's called Wasteland, if I didn't say that. So Ripper, Wasteland. I think you can stream this whole thing on YouTube if you want to check it out. But smoking record, man. So anybody out there, go get one. I'm sure you got to find it used at this point, because like I said, I think this is 2014 or something like that, but shouldn't be too hard. Great record.
Okay, don't know that one.
No,
If anybody's
I've never
looking
heard
it
of
up on, if anyone's looking it up on Metal Archives, there are 4 Rippers listed from the United States. This is the second one. I just pulled it up myself. So go to the second Ripper and you can check this one out. That's the Oregon band Duane just showed. Sounds interesting. Yeah, never heard of it.
Yeah, the bass player, man, she smokes. Holy crap.
All right. Alan.
Yes, as Sunday's pointing out, there are multiple Rippers listed on the archives. Let's see, what are we showing next? Okay. Marty and I talked about this band quite a bit on a episode of Metallurgy not that long ago, and I found one of their CDs cheap that I liked when we went through the deep dive on Destruction. So I picked up this one, which is
Born to Perish.
Born to Perish.
Mike's last album with the band.
It did turn out to be Mike's last album with them, and hey, he went out on in my opinion, a very good album.
Agreed. It's a good one.
It is. Destruction. It's not that they've done any bad albums since their comeback. It's just that some of them kind of feel very, by the numbers. You can kind of be like, yeah, this one you can take half the songs off this album and put them on a different album, and you might not know the difference. But no, this one sounds pretty good. The production's good. It's not as heavy-handed a production as maybe some of the earlier albums have had during the 21st century. But it's still a very clean sound, like the songs on it. Everything's just, it's what you want Destruction to do. It's very lively, very energetic. And I think that's the thing that kind of separates some of those new-ish Destruction albums from me. Some of them just sound like they've got, that little bit of extra spark. And some of them feel like, yeah, okay, we're showing up. We know how to put this together. And it ends up feeling a bit formulaic. This is one of them that feels like they came in, and really had that creative spark going. So it's got that little bit of extra, punch to it. 2019 release, good set of songs. There's only one on here that didn't quite work for me. Which one is it? It's got Butcher in the title. Yeah, Butchered for Life. The song structure is just, it's a little weird. It has this a little bit slightly like laid back vibe in parts of it that it just ends up feeling very out of place here. Is the only way I know to describe it. But other than that, it's classic Destruction. If you haven't kept up with the stuff they've done, in more recent years, they still put out very, very good thrash metal. They're one of those legacy bands that has not just, started phoning it in or doing, the same album over and over too much. You can still get a lot of enjoyment out of what Destruction does even these days.
Yep. Even though it's basically Schmear and the Destruction Players.
It has come down to that. But yeah, even that one, even the post-Mike album, they did a good job on that one.
Agreed.
I understand if some people aren't happy with Mike, with the band carrying on without Mike. But the guys they've got, they really still delivered a Destruction sound, even though Mike's presence is, missed.
Right on. All right. Well, yep. Balsagoth. Ice. What is this?
Starfire burning
on the ice-veiled throne of Ultima Thule.
The best album title ever.
And you know what?
Love it.
You put this CD next to any Cradle of Filth album. They're both English. They're both English bands. They both have a very similar aesthetic, very theatrical. Balsagoth leans into the high fantasy, sci-fi realm a little bit, and Cradle of Filth runs into the Anne Rice era of romanticism and vampirism and all that crap. But this here is just very good blackish metal with kind of like the Sabbath aesthetic, where you just cram a million words into the high concept lyrics into the. I mean, look at. I'm not going to read them, but look at how long the album titles are in here. To dethrone the witch queen of mythos, Kuhn, the liquid or the legend of the battle of such and such Vale. I don't know. It's
yeah. What you're looking at there, Marty, are the names of Dungeons and Dragons game modules.
Really?
Yes. Each one of those is the perfect title of a Dungeons and Dragons module.
Absolutely.
To dethrone the starborn hellspawn of the darkmost dragon heights on a wintry cold night during the snowstorm, when the blustery cave and the full moon blows and the wolf pees on your shoes.
Yep.
That's the bonus track. It may not be on your version.
I remember getting this CD and looking at the back. I'm like, man, I hope none of my tape traders want me to record this for them, because I'm going to be pissed off if I have to write these fucking song titles on the back of the goddamn J card. Fuck you.
I had to do that a couple of times for people, and yes, you had to just like cram an entire notebook in the
notebook paper in there with my shitty handwriting, like, motherfucker, I spelled it wrong in the paper in the garbage. But yeah,
yes,
I mean,
it was a mess.
These guys, they can be easily compared to Cradle of Filth, but I think I like this band a bit more. I only own 3 of their CDs. Their first one is A Dark Moon Brews Over Lemuria, which is good. This one's the second, and then I don't know if it's the third or not, but I have Battle Magic also, which is
Battle Magic is third. Yeah.
it's fantastic and out there, just absolutely crazy. It's like power metal, black metal.
A little
It's
bit. Yep.
a little bit like that. So
Yep. Yeah, and
Balsagoth.
Rhinepest is right. Another one that's cut from that same cloth. Hecate Enthroned, and
Yep.
one of those early Hecate albums was actually quite good in that vein.
very much, they sounded almost exactly like Cradle of Filth, though.
They were very close to Cradle. Yeah, Balsagoth has different vocal. He kind of goes for the
Here
deep
goes darker,
voice.
more
In the dark night, when the cleric, the priest, and the dwarf walk into the bar, kind of thing.
Yep.
Whereas, yeah, Hecate does exactly. They're Donnie Filth all the way, but did it well. Did it well. Good call, Ryan Priest.
That one's totally got my interest, Marty. And it's funny because I am not a Cradle of Filth fan. I've just never gotten into them.
This really isn't a Cradle of. I mean, their similarities are the high theatrics and their country, but I don't know. Check it out. Give it a sample on the YouTube machine.
Mike's a little public service announcement here. Apparently, it is not good first date music. Mike, you got to go with Pink Floyd, The Division Bell. It's more of a third date album, if you know what I mean. But yeah,
Dude, you dodged a bullet. If she isn't going to be down with Balsagoth, then she ain't worth taking out to dinner. Is all I'm saying. Yep.
That's funny.
Starfire burning upon the empty car seat where my date has fled.
Yep. That's awesome. No, it's not awesome. I'm sure it wasn't awesome at the time, but yeah, screw her.
Sometimes you got to test them out early, like you said, Marty. And if they fail that initial test, it wasn't meant to be anyway.
Nope. She was only there for a free dinner.
Yeah.
All right. Duane.
Okay, so this one, boy, talk about stepping way back. This was a total random pull I had done, just kind of dragging the finger, and it was like, yeah, that. And I was like, man, this still is so good. It has quite the dated production, I will just say that. But Odin, don't take no for an answer.
Cool.
Classic. What's the movie? Decline of Western Civilization is
Part
where
2.
most know this band from, but this album sounds nothing like they do in that movie. This right here, I would put right with Warlord Deliver Us, things like that. But this is absolutely mandatory classic American metal. Just killer stuff. But like I said, the production, it sounds almost, by the third track, you're used to it. It's fine. You're good to go. But when you first put it on, it has this almost like hollow or empty sound of the production of this thing. But I couldn't imagine listening to it any differently either, though. But yeah, if you just want, some early, U.S. metal, I wouldn't even call it U.S. power metal. It's just traditional metal straight up. Classic album. So it's fun that. It's a good spin.
Very nice. I haven't seen that or thought of them in a long time. But yeah, you described them perfectly.
I'd love to go through that collection back there. Just start digging, see what's in there. A bunch of shit I have never. It'd be fun. I threatened him after his video. He's talking about the Rage CDs. I said I'm coming over next week to drink his beer and sit on his couch and headbang the Rage albums. Well,
Mike, yes, absolutely, buddy. That is you're talking one of the greatest heavy metal records ever written, right there.
100% true.
Warlords Deliver Us is.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in a goofy mood tonight. You'll have to pardon me.
All right.
Let's see. Next. Again, we've been straying outside the heavy metal boundaries lately. Hadn't heard this in ages. It was at the used bookstore. So I picked up a Bauhaus Volume 1.
Nice.
They didn't have volume. They didn't have the second, the Volume 2.
It's
they just had this one.
Just as good.
I would have picked up both if they had it. Yeah, this was one. Yeah, again, I've heard it in the past. It's been ages, and I had never picked up any of their stuff on CD. I think someone had dubbed me this on a cassette ages ago, but I purged the cassettes. It's pushing 20 years since I got rid of all the cassette stuff. Better than I remember it. I
They're
never had
great.
anything against Bauhaus, but I just gravitated to some other, goth bands instead of Bauhaus. Don't know why. Maybe just sometimes I do that thing where it's just like, oh, everybody knows Bauhaus. I don't need to pay attention to Bauhaus. Let me go look for the band that only 13 people have ever heard of and obsess over them instead. I am guilty of that at times. But no, this is a really, really nice collection. I think part of maybe what had thrown me off them a little bit, to be serious, Bela Lugosi's Dead is fine. It's not nearly as good as some of the other songs on here, though. And of course, whenever people tell you, "Hey, you should check out Bauhaus," the first thing they want to play for you is Bela Lugosi's Dead. So I was always like,
I love
She's in
that.
Parties
She's in
is a
Parties, a great
fantastic
song.
Yeah,
She's
it's
in
on the
Parties
volume too.
Like Passion of Lovers song. That
Their-
Passion of Lovers song too. is
Their
good.
cover of Ziggy Stardust is probably one of the best covers
It's great.
ever done.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't think I've heard that one.
That's on volume 2. But yeah, it's
Okay.
great.
Yeah, but In the Flat Field on here, it's a very good song. They had, they're very good. They're obviously always thrown in the goth category, but yeah, they've got, just that, good, dark, kind of scratchy guitar tone. I like Peter Murphy's vocals. He sounds gothy without crossing the line into cartoony. And that is where I sometimes have to draw a line when it comes to goth bands. If they start to sound a little bit too much like a caricature, sorry, my suspension of disbelief just got flushed down the toilet, and I'm not interested anymore. But Peter Murphy doesn't seem to really do that, at least not very often.
Does that start off with Double Dare, right?
This version starts off with Double Dare.
That is such a dark, fucking cool,
one's-
heavy
yeah.
song.
Yeah, I liked to, I thought, the first, bunch of songs on this were good, and the last few, like you said, Marty, Passion of Lovers, Mask is the last one on it. I thought was really good. Hair of the Dog, really good. There were a few in the middle that got a little strange, like Telegram Sam has
I like
this
that
kinda
song,
weird,
though.
It has
like
this
that
just weird vaudevillian thing going on. The Telegram Sam.
You gotta do jazz hands. I know.
Kinda It sounds like something they would have done for a Family Guy skit. I'm not sure what to do with this.
I'll tell you,
and-
check out Peter Murphy's solo stuff too.
They're good
Alan.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard any of his solo stuff.
Oh, you probably have, you just don't know.
It's possible. It is quite possible.
Like Cuts You Up is a very
Cuts you up.
popular one. Yeah, very popular
Great.
song. You're probably like, oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. And then, of course, Love and Rockets, Daniel Ash's spinoff. And then there was also Tones on Tail with Daniel Ash and the drummer. And
Yeah, I remember Love and Rockets getting a push when they came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, good collection. Nice kind of revisiting it and having it connect, sink in a little better this time around. Yeah, some of this stuff again too. You forget about it, but when I stop and think, it's been 20 plus years since I first really dove into some more of this kind of jangly gothy post-punk stuff. And it's probably been over a decade since I paid a lot of attention to these things. That much time goes by, you do get rusty and kind of forget some of these things. And yeah, I've got at least one more in this style that I'll show here tonight. But it's been fun kind of getting back into that style of music a little bit more, and also digging into some bands that I hadn't really paid attention to, which we'll get to that soon.
thanks, Christopher. Yeah, Telegram Sam is a T-Rex cover. That's why it sounds so different from.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense that it's a cover song. I did not know that.
See if I can't turn you on to something, Alan, because I'm utterly shocked that you showed that. So,
Okay.
Just so happens that something that's in my pile tonight is along the same lines as that.
All right.
a
I'm
real
taking
quick
notes over here
Marty-
on Ripper and such, so I'll add things to the list.
Ripper, oh my God, Marty, if you can enlarge me real quick, I just wanted to show.
Oh, I can. There you go.
Oh, and it was such a family-friendly stream. We made it 2.5 hours before we got banned.
come. Yeah.
You guys someday have to come to the after chat. Okay, let's see. This is for Mike. He was talking about Warlord Deliver Us. Let's see if I can get the camera to go over here. Right up there's my Warlord Deliver Us 24 by 24 poster up there.
Nice.
Warlord Deliver Us. Okay, get down here. There we go. Okay. Then, of course, I got my Warlord boxes, you know.
Oh yeah, you have a Warlord deep dive or collection you show off on one of your videos too.
And speaking of, actually, so coming out this month, speaking of new releases, there is another new Warlord dropping.
Already?
Yes, on High Roller site. I believe it's like August 18th or 19th. I think it's like some demo material and stuff like that they put together for a record. So it is available for pre-order on High Roller. So another new Warlord. Who'd have
Shit,
thought?
I missed the last one. I haven't got around to checking it out yet.
Oh, get it.
That good. Okay.
Yep.
I've heard good and I've heard bad. So it's like there's been no in between. It's like good or bad.
If you're a Warlord fan, you're going to like it.
No pressure.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, I love Warlord Deliver Us, and that's kind of like all you know is just that, maybe not. I don't know. But
yeah.
If you're a real
So what do you
metal
have next,
fan,
Mike?
you'll like it, Marty. And if you're not, then you're a communist.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was watching Metal Mickey's stream today with Thomas from Merciful Metal, and we were talking about Holy Grail records, you know, and what constitutes a Holy Grail, and what are some you've gotten. And one thing I'm looking for on vinyl for a Holy Grail is this album, Death Row's Life Beyond. Only for the, I mean, my idea of a Holy Grail is typically not a financial acquisition or a rarity acquisition. It's just something that I have nostalgia for, or I want it. You know,
it has eluded you for whatever reason.
Yeah, and this this CD is a bootleg. This is an official release of it that was put out by Dive Bomb Records, which I don't even know why it doesn't have the original cover on it. Why doesn't it have the cover on it? I mean, granted, the original cover isn't great, but still, I mean, I would still take the crappy original cover over this. But yeah, I've never seen this album. Got zero love. Once Noise kind of went down and started changing what they were signing, and before it ultimately disintegrated. I think Deception Ignored was the last one with a big push, which I love, and then they followed it up with this record. I mean, Deception Ignored is a very technically advanced and challenged record. This here still sounds like Death Row. They just kind of cut away a lot of the techie stuff. It tried to be like a mix between Raging Steel and a Deception Ignored, but I don't know. It was just the wrong time. I don't remember what year this came out. Does it say on this? It probably doesn't. There's like an interview and all sorts of stuff in the booklet in here, but Aaron Margosian is sending me a picture. What is the picture of?
Oh boy.
You bastard.
Does he have it?
Yeah, he
Does
has
he have
it.
your Grail?
He has it. So yeah. Yep, I'm looking for a copy just because I've got all the rest on vinyl. It would be nice to have the record. So, and it made me pull this out and spin it today before the stream. And yep, still good. Is it their best? No, but it's still a good record that deserves to be sitting on my shelf, Aaron.
I didn't know this album existed. I didn't know they made one after Deception.
Yep.
Okay.
I will keep my eyes open for you.
Here, let me.
Oh,
It's like rubbing a puppy's face and shit after he shits on the floor. Thanks.
That's called the
all the
I've
way
got your
full now, just
record. I've got your
more,
record.
yeah.
No burrito for you, dum dum. Okay. All right, Duane, you're back.
Okay, so let's see here. This is going to be a briefer, actually, because this is right along the same lines. Is kind of what. All I can say is actually, I almost thought, I wonder if I should show these tonight, but I like to show at least one thing that's not metal. So when you guys started showing some of the stuff you've shown, I was like, cool, I'm going to show it. This is one of my favorite bands from this era. If you don't know them, most anybody that's into this style of music will definitely know this band. But if you are into things like Bauhaus, Sisters of Mercy,
Which I am.
Joy Division,
Love them.
New Order, Echo and the Bunnymen, right? That kind of stuff. I was on a big kick the other day. Clan of Zymox.
Oh yeah, that's like a offshoot of Cocteau Twins.
I've always heard the name, but don't know anything
yeah.
about
I
them.
believe it's members of Cocteau Twins. I could be wrong.
They started as Clan of Zymox, and then they just became Zymox. Okay, I don't know why the name change, but this is probably their most well known. There's a track on here, Evelyn, which I think is probably their biggest well known hit. But yeah, this is it's that 80s dark wave, just killer stuff, man.
I'm wrong. I don't think it is members of Cocteau Twins. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
It's that same style, though.
Yeah.
It is that same. I mean,
Well, they're a 4AD band, so they had that.
Yeah, I think the main guy, Ronnie, I can't remember his last name. Ronnie
McDonald.
even kind of looks like Robert Smith. Same kind of, the spiked hair. That's the whole bit, but very, very good stuff. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, Maloney knows all about it. Okay.
The Peel Sessions is killer, definitely. But yeah, so Alan, because you showed the Bauhaus, I was like, oh, that's going to be perfect. That's going to go right on in here.
Yep.
And they actually opened for Dead Can Dance one time. Zymox did. So, but yeah, and still going today, actually.
Wow.
I just that they were touring not too long ago, a few months back. So
Cool.
But yeah, so if you like that kind of stuff and you don't know this band, start with this. Get this.
Which one is that again, Duane?
Twist of Shadows.
Twist of Shadows. Okay. Yeah. I've heard this name for years and thought it was kind of a cool name, but have never heard a note by them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Twist of Shadows.
Yeah, that 4AD, that whole 4AD roster, you really can't go wrong. It's either like Dead Can Dance, all that stuff. It's very ethereal, dreamy. I don't know. It's cool shit.
Yep.
Sunday, you are not wrong.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
And now they've lost all their goth mystique. I believe that was Zymot, one of the twins.
Yep. That's hilarious.
That whole twin thing was just
weird.
I
I just call that stuff dark wave.
Yep. Yep.
Killer stuff. When I'm in the mood for that, I usually delve pretty deep, solidly for a few days. That's not the type of stuff I usually just pull random one, listen, and I'm fixed. Once I listen to it, I'm like, I just start getting addicted.
Start smoking clove cigarettes and
right.
Yeah.
Put on my black trench coat.
Yeah, I recently just picked up finally a copy of Cocteau Twins' debut album Garlands, which I love that record. It's very dark and twisted guitar sound, and her singing is angelic almost. It's great. It's great stuff. Yeah, I love clove cigarette. The Dejarums from back in the day before they banned them were amazing. I would smoke those things. Oh, so good. They're like, you pull them out of the pack and the cloves would like bleed through the paper. Mm-hmm. And they tasted so good. Now, and then they banned them, and now they're still selling Dejarums making clove cigarettes, but they're more like cigarillos. They take it's basically they dip the filter tip in clove and flavoring, and then it's still they banned the real Dejarums, Aaron. So you can't get them like that. They used to be. They're so horrible for you. I guess the cloves would not burn up until they got into your lungs.
They said when they got them banned, they were saying that one Dejarum was like smoking 10 regular cigarettes.
Dude, I smoke so many of those. I don't even want to hear that.
Me too. Do you still remember the taste on your lips would be there for like?
It's still there. You're just talking about it.
Taste it.
Oh God, dude, I love it.
Yep.
I loved them so much. It was worth whatever was coming. Yeah. But now they suck. Water. I bought one recently-ish, a pack, and pulled it open and was smoking it on the street downtown, and just like, ugh. It's just like a regular cigarillo with clove flavoring on the filter tip. Sucked. Anyway, this is an offshoot, but yeah. Talking about goth and shit. Yeah, it comes back. It comes back.
Yeah.
Alan, good thing you never started any of those bad habits.
No, never whatsoever.
Oh, you bastard. I want one.
On tonight's episode of Gothy Metallurgy.
What brand was that though?
Oh, these are San Perno.
I'm sure they're not good though. I mean, anything comes in the U.S. now has to be like a cigar.
Oh, no,
like...
these were from before they were banned. These I still have a couple of packs sealed from back in the day.
Oh fuck, dude.
Yeah,
I'll
I never down. You and me would be on the back
$25.
patio.
I never smoked very much, but when I did, that's what I went for. And a buddy got me a carton of them right before the ban.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
So yes, thanks, Brad, for thanks for all the lung cancer.
I'm sure they're so stale at this point.
They'd probably be horrible if I actually cracked them open, but you never know.
Alan, hold that up one more time.
Oh yeah, sure. Just a second. Throw them back in the drawer over here.
We're learning a lot about the professor tonight. He's got bad habits just like all of us.
Just like
you can smell it through the internet.
you pretty much can. Yep.
Yeah, those Jarums, man. Oh, it's like heaven. Cancerous heaven.
Two things you don't think of going together, really.
They make Harley Davidson cigarettes. You gotta be kidding me.
This does not surprise me, though.
Wow. No. Anyway, Alan, what's your next one?
We'll go ahead and get the last of this kind of chunk of material out of the thing. It'll surprise folks. I never checked out this band. I never avoided them. I just always knew that I would need to sit down and pay some attention to them to, have it click. I didn't want to just like play it in the background and breeze over it. So it's like, okay, we'll get around to it one day. This summer has been the day that I finally paid a lot of attention to Joy Division.
The gods. Love it.
And I will say, it really does live up to the hype. That was one thing that I was a little worried about, too. People put this band on such a pedestal. I did have that kind of concern. I was like, is this going to be one of those things I play and it's going to be like, well, it's good, but Jesus Christ, people, it's not that good. It really is that good.
It is good.
Yeah. So for folks that are just listening and not watching, this is the first Joy Division album, Unknown Pleasures, 1979. And yeah, I've really, really enjoyed playing this a lot.
90 closer now.
Closer is, yeah.
That's depressive as fuck.
I have Closer. It's back there on the,
Yep.
It's about right there. I've only played it like once or twice. I can't comment on that one. I haven't played it.
Very depressing.
But this one, they just, very good. They have kind of a minimalist sound on this one. The bass line, is very prominent, but in the songs, very well done. I'll admit, one other thing that always kind of kept me a little bit at arm's length with Joy Division, for at first, I never really did like the song, the big video hit that happened right after Ian Curtis died. Love Will Tear Us Apart.
That was a single.
What? That song, it was about the way that his voice sounded just like, it almost sounded like he was trying to sing lower than he naturally should. And that song just would not click.
You have to relinquish your clove cigarettes. I'm sorry.
Come and pry them from my cold, dead fingers. They'll be dead soon because I smoked too many of them.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, maybe if I play it now, the song will click. But it was like, and it wasn't like it was a terrible song. It's just like, it sounds a little, I don't know. It was more poppy than I expected it to be or something. And his voice just kind of threw me. So, but yes, have, finally went ahead, paid attention to Joy Division. And it's really, a lot of people consider, one of the best, if not the best of, the post-punk era albums. And I can see why it really is that good, at least on this one. There was only, let's see, the track lists on here. Yeah, I mean, pretty much every song on this is quite good. It took me a time or two to get the hang of Disorder. Just, again, it was a little bouncier than I expected it to be. But then you get to like Day of the Lords, Candidate, New Dawn Fades. You're like, okay, yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting. And it's done really, really good. She's Lost Control has, again, a little bit. It's weird because it does have a danceability to it, but yeah, in a very dark, somber, isolated kind of way. I think the only song I hear that hasn't really clicked with me is Wilderness. Somehow I keep Shadow Play, I like a lot.
Mhm.
Then Wilderness Happens, Interzone, I like that one a lot. And I Remember Nothing is a great closer. So, yeah, Wilderness is the one song I still have to maybe play by itself a couple of times to get it to grok.
Well,
But
if
yeah,
you-
so
you're
I am paying
absolutely
attention.
right. Control is an awesome movie, Wade. So,
So-
yeah, Alan, if you haven't seen that Control, it's a biopic
Very depressing.
on Ian Curtis.
Yeah.
Very good.
I probably have
very
not
well
seen
done.
it. Yeah, I've read a good bit about the band and seen a little bit of stuff here and there, but yeah, haven't sat down and watched any real documentary type stuff. So okay, I'll keep it in mind. Thanks for
Well, if
the
you like-
Also, if you
recommendation.
guys ever come across some Peter Hook's project he's got going called Peter Hook and the Light?
Yeah, they're doing
Um,
all old Joy Division tracks.
They
He's
have
singing it.
toured. Yeah, they've toured all the Joy Division and New Order albums,
Yeah.
and I've got them all on vinyl. The recordings are incredible. They sound killer. Very good stuff. Highly recommend if you're at all a Joy Division or New Order fan.
I'll
sure.
keep it in mind. Yeah. Again, something I'm noticing too, this kind of stuff, some of the Dead Can Dance, Joy Division, stuff of that ilk is stuff that will show up at one particular record store and bookstore in town. And they show up dirt cheap. So I'm more than willing to throw a few dollars at these things as they show up. I just kind of got to know, like with Marty the other day, so it's like, is this the right Dead Can Dance one to get? Or is this one? Because sometimes, you buy the wrong one, you get the one that you're supposed to avoid, and it kind of taints you on the band for a while.
Well, if you like that album, you like Closer, you should check out the very first New Order album called Movement. It's the first album they did after Ian's death.
Mhm.
Some of the songs they wrote for Joy Division, for Ian, and it's, again, a downer. There's a downer fucking vibe. It's great. It's a great Martin Hannett production again, so it's really clean and weird sounding, and it's fucking awesome. It's awesome.
I know the band wasn't happy with his production at the time, but it really does work well for the music. And
It was
I'll
special,
probably work.
yeah.
I'll probably work forward into that, Marty. Like I said earlier with some of the other bands, I'm trying really hard not to just binge these bands like I used to, because sometimes those would be cases where it's like, hey, I've just heard all the Joy Division and all the New Order stuff in 2 weeks, but it doesn't stick well with me long term. So I'm trying to. I've spent several weeks with just Unknown Pleasures. Now I'm going to spend, a couple of weeks on just Closer. And then when the New Order one shows up, sure, I'll pick that up. But I'm not going to run out and, just scarf it down before I'm ready to wrap my head around it fully.
Closer
trying to
is
take
not
my
a
time with
feel-good.
some of these albums.
Closer is not a feel-good album.
Anybody wanting to get into New Order, I would recommend absolutely just get Substance, and
the best of.
You're good to go. I mean, really, that's got everything you need.
I really like Movement, though. I'm not. Someone said it's very experimental. It kind of is, but it's just the right vibe.
Totally, absolutely, couldn't agree more. But if you're a newbie that just doesn't know New Order and really wants to experiment New Order, or get a taste for it, Substance is the way to go, because you'll get a little bit of everything. It's all the good stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I do appreciate the recommendations on this stuff, folks. The rest of the night, it will be all metal from my corner. I'm done with the post-punk offerings for this go round.
Well, I've got some weird shit in mind, so I'm going to show that.
That's
I showed this off on Wednesday, but we went to Grand Rapids to Vertigo Music. I wanted to get the reissue of No Means No Wrong. They didn't have it on vinyl, so I bought the CD of it, which they had. And this album, it's just fun. It's great. It's really bass heavy. It's on Alternative Tentacles, so it's going to be, it's punk-ish. It's got some weird shit going on in it, but 2 lips, 2 lungs, 1 tongue, Big Dick, It's Catching Up, The Tower. What a great song. Back in the day, the first time I ever heard of No Means No, my friend Jeff Wagner, who's been on the show, my old editor for Metal Maniacs, he made me a Voivod tape, and on the back side, he made a mix of his favorite No Means No stuff. And that's kind of perked my ear, because it's kind of Voivod-y at times. Like I said, the bass is distorted, kind of cool, very bass dominant. There's some songs where it's just bass. There's no real guitar on it, but this stuff kicks ass. Oh my God. It's hard hitting. It's fun, clean vocals. It's punky. It's just a unique band from Canada. I don't know. I'm a big fan, and it was cool to finally snag a copy. You start looking, I would listen to that comment and say, I'm going to get me some No Means No stuff. You start looking around online, it's like, that shit ain't cheap. Even the CDs aren't cheap. So it's like, very cool they finally, Jello finally reissued this one. I don't know if there's more coming. I'd like to get the Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie. There's others as well. So if you're into this stuff, get it. Check it out. All right.
Nice. No means no. Okay, this one, let's see. This is a one and done band, actually.
It does, Phil.
Well, they had a very popular new album EP, but then only ended up releasing one album years later. But it is absolutely killer. Don't let the cover fool you. This is a band, Excalibur, One Strange Night. Like I said, the cover does not look metal at all.
Ambiguous, for sure.
Yeah. You can,
that band photo.
Yeah, you kind of got the Bon Jovi look there. Don't let that fool you either.
This band was living on a prayer.
Yeah, this band was, like I said, they had a new album EP in like 82 or 83. That's kind of a well-known one amongst the new album guys out there. And then they didn't actually cut a full record till 1990, and that's this one here. And it is, just look it up on YouTube. I don't know how to explain it. It is not a new album. It is more straight.
Is that Night Ranger?
No. Yeah, and this is probably why the band failed. I mean, is the cover of this thing. It just does not represent what it sounds like at all. So, on the mothership, they are actually, yeah, this album gets an 81%. Well, that's only one review, but these guys are from Yorkshire, England. And so it does have, I don't know, maybe that Swedish metal, I guess is kind of what I'm thinking of, that sound.
Okay.
Or
maybe like a Norwegian TNT. That's kind of what they kind of got that look too.
Yeah. So, but really highly recommend this record. Easy to get. Pretty sure it's pretty good.
Excalibur and not a sword in sight. I'm so disappointed.
This is...
Yeah,
they threw it at some watery tart from a lake.
This is one of those albums I would classify as like a forgotten gem that you never knew. This is what I would call that. This is once you hear this, you're like, I've got to get that record. And then you tell people, it's like, dude, have you ever heard this record? And they're like, no. And then you play it for them, and they're like, damn, I got to get that record. That's what this is. Okay, so One Strange Night, Excalibur. Good stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I know the EP that they did, but I didn't even know they did a full album later on.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Not a sword in sight. You guys are the best chatting on the internet. You rule.
Yep.
Indeed.
All right, Alan. I'm gonna go use the little boys' room. Be right back.
All right. Well, in that case, while Marty's gone, we'll go with a classic one. It's been, like I said, working through discographies for some bands I haven't just had. You can't play everything. My God, you just can't play everything. So that means some things, time slips by and you haven't played them in a while. So I've been dusting off the Riot albums, starting at the beginning with Rock City. Yep. Riot's debut. It's a fantastic album. This early Mark I version of Riot is great. I do feel that Fire Down Under tends to suck up all the oxygen in the room sometimes. That the other two albums cannot get a foot in the door, and I get it. Fire Down Under, yes, it has three of the most immortal songs ever recorded on one album, on one side of one album. It's crazy. This album is every bit as good as Fire Down Under, in my opinion. It doesn't, it just doesn't. It has Warrior, which is on that same level as those big Swords of Tequila outlaw kind of songs. None of the other songs have that same name recognition to them, but God, it's a fantastic album start to finish. There's a case to be made that this is the first heavy metal album by an American band made for modern heavy metalish stuff. Not talking like, really early proto Blue Cheer kind of sounds.
Right.
But, for like, the post Judas Priest explosion kind of metal, you could make a case, and I'm not saying you would win, I'm not saying I would agree, but you could make a case that this was the first heavy metal album from an American band. If it's not this, I think you have to wait a couple of years before something else comes along that could possibly challenge that. This is 77. It's very early for an American band to be rocking out this hard, and having guitar work this slick and this fiery. Guy Speranza's voice is perfect. Mark Reilly's guitar work is amazing. Every song, almost every song, there's one song on here that is a little bit of a miss. It's one of the later ones. Is it Heart of Fire is the only one that's kind of like, and it's a short song. But yeah, if you're only familiar with Fire Down Under and like it, you should definitely check out Rock City as well, because it's every bit as good for my money. Fantastic album by my favorite group.
Yep. I'm a Narita fan too. I love that album.
Narita's also good. It's a little uneven for me. It was kind of a rushed album, is my understanding, that they kind of had to throw it together.
The most bluesy of them.
A little bit, yeah. And it has some excellent songs. For me, that album for me works better if I play it. Well, let me think about that. Side B is better than side A. I'll put it that way. It feels like the last few songs on Narita are really, really, really good. There's a few here and there through the middle that aren't. It's not that they're bad; they're just not personal favorites. Something's got to come in third place on those three albums, and it's Narita for me. But it still has a lot of classic tunes you got to have. So yeah, if you want to hear more on Riot, I mentioned it earlier, but Sue Verica will be coming back on the channel probably in September, and we will be digging into the Riot discography.
Let me ask you guys something, since you brought this up, Alan, about that being the first metal album, U.S. metal album. What is your take? Because I've seen this bounce back and forth for years and years and years, and I'm not even sure where I stand on it. What about Kiss? Would you consider?
For me, an immediate and hard no. And nothing against Kiss, but for me, they are a rock band. You can call them hard rock if you want, and that's fine. And I don't mean it in a disparaging way, but I have never once thought of Kiss as a metal band.
Because I'll tell you this, in the metal room, that's where I file my Kiss. I do not file my Kiss in with my classic rock.
Fair enough.
You file it where? In the metal? In the metal?
Huh?
Where do you file it with the metal?
In K and metal, yeah.
I mean, there was some. I mean, you look at Hotter Than Hell. Look at songs like She. I mean, there's some definite metal going on,
and there's some definite just rock stuff too.
100%.
Sure.
And there's some definite English pop shit too. I mean, Paul has come out and said, "Oh, I would rip off Sweet all the time, just and rewrite their riffs." Or Slade or Sweet. I think he said Sweet. Slade or Sweet. I can't remember. An S band.
Could be both.
Could be both.
But it's like I've heard people call Alice Cooper metal, and I'm like, well, he ain't any more metal than freaking Kiss.
And say I would Kiss or Cooper would be an immediate and hard no for me too. And again, nothing against it, but no, I mean, Cooper for me was always more aligned with the early 70s glam kind of stuff. He's closer to David Bowie than he is to Judas Priest. For the early stuff, yes, he went through his, kind of big hair metal phase, in the later 80s. And those albums are fun. I like those, but I wouldn't consider Cooper or Kiss to be metal myself.
I think both of those artists, especially the Theatrics, certainly influenced that. And there's some heavier shit for sure. But no, it always just struck me as hard rock, I guess. That could be an argument for sure. I mean, I see what you're saying, Duane. I don't.
Well, I know when I first got into Kiss, which was Destroyer, Okay. I don't even remember hearing the term heavy metal. Okay. Till quite a few years later. Now you talk to people like Scott Waters and whatnot who said, "Oh, I've got magazines that call it heavy metal in 1975," and it's like, "Oh, that's great," but in the mainstream air, I never heard the term. As like, "Oh, that's a heavy metal band." I don't think I heard that for years after that. 1976, is when I discovered Kiss, 75, 76. But when I look back on that band, from all the music and the bands of that era, they would be the most I would categorize towards what became metal. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I just, I've heard some people say, yeah, they were one of the first metal bands, and other people say, no, they're a fucking rock band. And I would say they are a rock band to me. But
well, Gene even calls it. They're not. He even said they're not a metal band. So
yeah, but I still tie them in with all my metal life. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I agree there, but I think I'm with Alan here. I think they're just a hard rock band.
Yep.
They influence metal. I think they definitely put their
sure,
hat in the ring on that. Rock-a-rolla isn't really either.
Nope.
Rock-a-rolla could have been, but it was not. Yeah, a lot of the later, they already had a lot of the songs from Sad Wings in their repertoire, but they didn't make it onto Rock-a-rolla. So
Sad Wings, absolutely, I would say.
Yes, yeah.
But that first album is so Zeppelin influenced; it's just straight rock.
Yeah. And even, to be fair, Sad Wings has some different kinds of things going on. It's not all the Ripper and Tyrant, that some of those other tracks, they're still trying out some different styles and things, which most bands did at that time. Most hard rock bands, they would dabble, they would have the ballad, they would have the bluesy number, they'd have the experimental number. That was par for the course. You didn't get albums that early in the 70s that were nothing but headbangers. That stuff just didn't, that's not how bands operated back then. They were going to have this song's meant to be a radio hit. This song's meant to be really fucking heavy. This song's our chance to, try out, the flute and see what we can do with that in a song.
I will say this. I think with Sad Wings, I don't mean to go down the Priest rabbit hole here, but with Sad Wings, if that album was cut with any other vocalist, I don't think it would be considered what it's considered today. There was a magic marriage that happened with Rob Halford when he joined that band, and it wasn't Rock-a-Rolla, it was Sad Wings, and where he actually was able to soar, and that created something on that record that I don't think anybody else could have created with the band.
Well, shit, they even,
it's hard to imagine,
after Rob left, they got the next best thing, Ripper Owens. He was in a Priest cover band, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same.
No.
Yeah, that first Winter's Bane album with Owens on it is pretty good.
I like the stuff he did with Iced Earth. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
He was not the problem with Iced Earth by that point. No, Iced Earth had other issues I didn't like, but it was not him.
All right. Well, is it my turn?
Duane.
Yeah. Is it my turn? I think it is.
Yes, I showed Riot. So while you went to the bathroom, so
sorry guys, I didn't mean to take you off.
Oh no, that's what
it's
these
a question.
That's what
like
these shows are good for.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite questions. Is poking around at what is that? What are those first one or two American heavy metal albums? Because with the British, it's easy. It's Black Sabbath, and if you don't agree with that, you're just wrong. I mean,
there's not much even to say about Led Zeppelin.
Camp, though. You're going to have another camp. There's two camps there: Sabbath or Purple. I've heard a lot of people say Purple is really the true first metal band, not Sabbath.
I've heard people throw Zeppelin in the ring too for that.
I've heard that too, though.
Which I don't fucking look.
I think it's a hard sell on Zeppelin. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people throw Blue Cheer into that and trying to trump all of them. And I'm like, Blue Cheer is heavy. They are not metal.
No.
They had a very heavy sound, but it's blue. It's just loud, fuzzy blues. It's
When
not
it comes to Purple,
metal.
to me, I say Deep Purple is a hard rock band. Rainbow
Yeah.
is a metal band. To me, Rainbow was a metal band, but Deep Purple is a hard rock band.
I would say Stargazer's a metal song. I mean, let's be honest. Richie Blackmore was pissed he wasn't in Deep Purple anymore, so he made his own Deep Purple. And I think it's better than Deep Purple. The Dio era of Rainbow is better to me than Deep Purple. Sorry. It just is. It's so good. I don't know.
The Mark II Deep Purple is as good as the Rainbow stuff.
Who's
know which
singing
one
on that?
Ian Gillan.
Ian Gillan, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Gillan Pace, Lord Blackmore era. Yeah. Anyway, we have wandered.
Hey, Lucifer's Friend, the first album maybe. Then after that, man, that band completely.
Yeah, they changed a
Oh,
lot.
where the hell
That
they-
first album is fun. That is
Yeah.
a fun album. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Fish Cult? Welcome. Haven't seen you around. Good to see you. Thanks for a lot of new people in the chat tonight. Good to see everybody. Seriously.
Glad to see everybody chatting in the chat tonight. That's cool, and especially amongst each other too. That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Talking metal, baby.
Check out Rainbow Rising if you haven't. That album is so freaking good. And Long Live Rock and Roll. Both those are great albums.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. This is so good. This is, after what we've been talking about, this is an embarrassing poll, but these are like four albums I grabbed in the used bin at a place I'd never been to in Grand Rapids before called the Corner Record Store.
And now for something completely different.
The Corner Record Shop. Hold on. I'll be back. My kid's here. Anyway,
Hi, I can say hi, Dad.
hey son, how are you?
Hi.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I really liked this band's first album, and I've always kind of liked this band. I never really lumped them in with the hair metal realm, but Tesla, Mechanical Resonance. This to me is like just a bluesy hard rock band, and they had this pretty cheap in the used bin. I liked the first album. I'm like, I'm going to try this. It's cheap. And it's long, man. It's long-winded. There's like 3 songs on here. I'm like, this is cool. This is a good song. And the rest of it's just kind of like, I don't know. So I satiated my curiosity. And what do you guys think of Tesla? I see doubting looks and disapproval on Duane's face.
No, actually, I believe I have every CD. On vinyl, I have Mechanical. And I love that album. But to me, Tesla is Bon Jovi, Night Ranger, Tesla. It's that girls metal.
Yes.
That's girls metal, man. That's I remember even back when they were out, I sold that record across the counter to probably 9 women to every male.
Yep.
Okay.
Modern Day Cowboy on here is the song. It's a good song.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you because it's just funny. I bought it. I'm like, you know what? I like that
actually
debut.
really like them a lot, but it's just that's where they are.
Yep. Yeah. I don't mind Tesla. I'm not real familiar with their catalog. Tesla for me is one of those that sometimes people try a little too hard to push them to the forefront of the discussion. They're like, oh yeah, we know a lot of those bands from that era really sucked, but no, the uncut gem of the whole thing, Tesla, so overlooked. Tesla, so great. And just like, and I hear some, I'm just like, well, it's good, but I don't think I'm ready to put them on the same pedestal that a lot of people are.
Well, it's one of
just
those
me.
bands. They have great musicianship in that band,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing.
but they can't seem to let go of the blues chord. I just
Yeah.
don't.
I just, it's kind of the, now I have 2 Tesla records and I really do, like Rat. I will keep going on the Rat. I've got a bunch of Rat records. I really love the shit out of Rat. I think they're a great band. They were always like stand out from that whole era for me. This stuff, I always liked a song here or there. And again, the first record I think is good. This is the third, I think. I don't know. I really don't think I need any more Tesla in my life, but it was sitting there cheap. I'm like, this fucker's coming home with me. I'm gonna check it out, and
No,
I'm
that's
glad I
fair.
did.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. I didn't when it was on. I didn't hate it, but I don't really see myself saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go listen to that pretty subpar Tesla record right now." That's not probably never gonna happen again. But
yeah. I think everyone's got a couple of bands from that era that they like a bit more than the rest of the pack, and the ones that are getting named like Tesla and Rat and Doc, and bands maybe that had a little better musicianship, and stayed away from a lot of the Sunset Strip sleaze kind of stuff a little bit more than some bands perhaps. Rats, where was I going with that?
Tesla, to me, they're, like I said, it's the Bon Jovi, the barbecue music. Okay, so you got the neighbors over, maybe some family members and stuff like that. I ain't gonna go throw on "Don't Break the Oath" for those people. They're not gonna get it. You know what I mean? But I can pull something like that will appease everybody, including myself. You know what I mean? Without going like, "Here's your Britney Spears." Okay, so that's kind of where it is. Absolutely killer band. Great stuff, but it's just, it has its limit to me on where,
So what you're saying is at your barbecue, you're not throwing on Blasphemy's Fallen Angel of Doom, or that's not happening. Oh.
No.
Not pulling a Dark Path mat and trying to slip Halloween into the background during the wine and cheese social hour.
Aaron brings it up perfectly right there. I think the issue is that bands like Tesla were marketed as a metal band, even another one that I would put in the same category and the exact same thing that Aaron's saying, Whitesnake.
I like Whitesnake. I don't give a shit.
But is it a metal band or are they a bluesy hard rock band?
They're a bluesy hard rock band.
Yeah,
exactly. Same as Tesla.
Cinderella, kind of in a lot of ways, especially.
I like them too. Night Songs, great album.
Yeah. The first one's a bit more hard rock, but the second and third albums have a lot of blues in them.
Tons.
For sure. Yeah. House of Lords, a band I always kind of champion. The same thing. They're meant to
House
be more of
a killer band,
hard rock band. Yeah, and but they always wanted to get lumped in with the Poison and Bon Jovi stuff, and that wasn't the right place for them.
Well, then you got like bands like Badlands with that like Jakey Lee's thing and Eric Singer. Yeah, that was a decent.
That's a good album. Yep. The first one, the second one, I don't know if I ever heard. It came out in the post grunge apocalypse, so it never had a chance.
Oh yeah, it's cool to get down this rabbit hole because there are some good albums from this era. There really are. There was a ton of shit where, yeah. Okay,
Indeed.
Duane, you're up.
Oh crap! Okay, let's see here. All right, well, I'm going to show this because this was being spun because it just came in, but I pulled it with some other things here because I wanted to show why. Now, this is a band I have a lot of history with. This band, and I was so excited to see that these got reissued. So I don't know if everybody knows these have been reissued. So if not, I'm about to tell you. So it's a great opportunity to get these records, these two especially, because they're a couple of the most expensive, and they're gorgeous reissues, and that is Vicious Rumors.
Oh, nice. I didn't know those were reissued.
Yes, this is Soldiers of the Night, and they reissued a Digital Dictator as well. There. And so they're on colored vinyl, and the company, and they still carry the Shrapnel logo, which is cool. But the company that put these out is Hammer Heart Records. And I got to give this label a shout out because when it comes to reissues, and this is one of those bands where, I've got, here's an original US, here's a Japanese pressing, when it comes to reissues, a lot of companies that are doing these reissues are doing a disservice to the band and the fan base. Like, I know some of the Anthrax reissues just look shitty as all hell when it comes to the packaging. Now, these guys, there's no bonus tracks on here. There's no extra demo material on here. It is an exact replication of the original record. And I want to show you how incredibly close. Most reissues, if you hold them side by side, one's darker, one's off color, one's this or that. And here's the original, and here's the reissue. And these things are dead on.
Oh, that is a nice copy. Yeah.
They are dead on the color. Look
Nice.
at that.
Perfect.
So these are absolutely like true reissues that are just like the only thing missing is the shrapnel label on the vinyl itself, you know? And same thing with Digital Dictator. Here's the original, and here's the reissue. And you wouldn't know the difference flipping in the bin. You'd have to pull it out and look at it to see, you know, really close to see, oh, is that an original or is that a reissue, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Nice.
they nailed it. So, yeah, the Digital Dictator, transparent blue. I think they also did a red and black, obviously. And then Soldiers of the Night, they did an orange, a splatter, a green, and a black, I believe. But, you know, these Digital Dictator was like $100 record. Soldiers of the Night, $50 to $100 record, right? The original shrapnel in really good shape. So you can get these reissues like $25, you know?
Nice.
So, and these first two albums, this one is very, very special to me, very dear to my heart, this first album. Carl Albert, who joined the band on the second album, definitely a better singer than Gary St. Pierre on this, but man, Gary's vocals on this just screams. Love this record. So for those that don't know, the first two Vicious Rumors albums have been reissued. I think they came out, it's like 3 months ago, as I believe imports only, but now they're in the US, so you should be able to get them fairly easy. I don't know, I haven't found out yet how far they're going to do the reissues, if they're just stopping at these two, if they're going to start, you know, up the catalog, which would be nice because I would love a reissue of Welcome to the Ball. But so, yeah, I was playing those, so I thought I'd show those and then let y'all know if you don't know that they are available.
Logan is asking you what your favorite track off those albums are.
I would say Soldiers of the Night, without a doubt, is Blitz the World. That's my number one VR song for sure. Then probably after that would be Ride Into the Sun, March or Die, Invader's the one I could probably, and the title track, Soldiers of the Night. Let's see.
Hey, welcome, D Bulldoze. Never seen you in the chat before. Welcome, man. And Fish Cult, if I didn't say it already. Good to see you too.
Let's see. Okay, then Digital Dictator, Minute to Kill, title track, Condemned, and Worlds and Machines, for sure. So, those are my favorites.
All right. Good one.
Mm-hmm.
Alan.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking up something over here that, D Bulldoze had just mentioned that I want to look into. Anyway, again, something else I've been trying to do lately, like with the TMS from Marion Craig, go back and listen to, the first album or two by some of these, classic bands. Because sometimes I haven't heard them in forever, or they just, they get overlooked or overshadowed. Great example of that is this one, Pestilence, Malleus Malefictarum. Most people, you say Pestilence, they say Consuming Impulse. Consuming Impulse, Consuming Impulse, Consuming Impulse, Consuming Impulse.
Not
Consuming
TJ.
Impulse. And there's nothing wrong with that album. I mean, I get it. Yes, it's most people consider one of the classics of classics. That's fine. That's great. I'm not taking anything away from it. This album completely kicks ass, though, too.
It does.
It is such a riff storm. Van Drenning still sounds good on it. He doesn't sound quite as... he hasn't quite got his classic voice nailed down just yet. It's close. It's just not quite there. I mean, he sounds great. Don't get me wrong. It's just that when you hear it, you're like, he sounds slightly different on that one. But yeah, Jesus Christ, this album is just, start to finish. I mean, every riff is great. The leads are, insane.
Yep.
Everything is here. There still is a lot of thrash in this, but the vocals and the lyrics are very much already over in, the death metal camp. And I'm, just kind of, amazed. I'm like, why doesn't this get mentioned? Okay, if Consuming Impulse is your favorite, no argument. Not taking that away from you. But why aren't folks like, Consuming Impulse and Malleus Maleficarum both kick ass? Well, why isn't it like, oh wow, it's really close, but okay, I like Consuming a little better. It's just one of those bands where the conversation gets dominated by one album so much that the others don't get the love that they deserve. And yeah, this is absolutely just what you want in this style. It's, vicious, it's pounding, it's energetic, it's raw, but not in a bad way. It just has, that edge to it.
It's thrashier.
It's a little thrashier, and it gives it that kind of extra energy. So yeah, another fun one, going back, listening to, and just like, damn, that's really good. It should be talked about a bit more.
I'm gonna have to revisit that.
All right. I am up next.
You
Okay.
Marty.
Here's another one from that store. I walked in, there was some stuff. I bought a bunch of CDs for my kid. Judas Priest. My kid's getting into Judas Priest.
Attaboy.
He's getting into Maiden. He has this metal playlist he has on Spotify, and I added some add an Acropolis and one other song off of Crystal Logic, and he hated it. And now the other day he told me, I think I'm understanding that Manila Road. Do you have any other records? I'm like, son,
Never heard of them.
here's the key to the kingdom, and come down and enjoy any of their records. Anyway, I walked in, and this was sitting in the dollar box. It's an original.
Most 14-year-olds try to figure out where their dad's stash of Playboys are at. Yours is looking for the Manila Road vinyl.
Exactly. Yep. I love it. I'm on the right track. This is a.
Why are my Manila Road records stuck together?
Dad. Yeah, that's from me. That's not from him. That's from me. This is a Megaforce Atlantic pressing. I think it's the original pressing. But this is the third time I've gotten this record, and I think I'm finally going to keep it. For $1, Gretchen Goes to Nebraska by King's X. This album...
I've never heard that.
You know what? It's such a different... It's different.
Well, King's X is different to begin with.
They're a very different band. This is a very musician's album. The musicianship's fantastic. There's a lot of Beatleisms, the way they harmonize and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to go and buy all the King's X stuff. I got this for $1. And I've owned this album. This is the third time I've owned this record. And every time I get it, I'm like, God, my friend Austin from Panopticon, this is one of his favorite bands. So I'm always like trying to get it. And I think it finally clicked. I put it on. It's produced so well. The production of this thing is just expansive. It's really vibrant. It's a very great, check out Pallades, Over My Head. That song actually kind of bugged me, all the harmonies. It's very Beatle-esque. But Out of the Silent Planet, I don't know. This is probably where I'm... What's that?
What's the year on that one?
This is 1989.
Oh, it's funny. It looks later than that.
Yep. On Megaforce, Atlantic, Marcia Z, this was her band. This is the band she wanted to sign, and they did. And it's good. It's good. Anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I think my King's X exploration starts and ends here. But, I'm glad to say that for $1, it's finally gonna stay. I've owned it on vinyl twice. I've given it away. I'm like, I just don't get this record. Well, I think I finally kind of get it now. Yeah, you're right, Wade. They were totally ahead of their time. They were pigeonholed as they were trying to be. The labels were trying to push them into being a Christian band, especially people that were Christian. They tried, and the band ended up resenting that. They used to be I mean, it didn't suit them. But anyway, it's weird. it's weird for me, but it was a fun listen. It was a cool experiment to revisit. Duane.
Oh, let's see here. Well, let me show this one. I spun this one. This is cool band. Starborn Travelers, the name of the album. The band is Crystallize. This is a band that started out as a power metal band.
Wait a minute. Is this the band that had Daniel Hyman from Lost Horizon?
Daniel Hyman. I'm not sure the names.
He was on one or two of their records. I don't know if that's the same band. Let me look it up. Crystal Eyes.
No, there's no Daniel Hyman on here. Here's the band. There's no Daniel there.
I might be.
But I know that there have been members in and out of the band. I just don't know. I don't recognize that name. But they started out as a more of a European power metal band, and by this point they're more traditional metal. And in fact, this album specifically I bought specifically for one track, and it was a video that was going around for a while. And it's still on YouTube. You can find it. And it's absolute. I call it 80s metal comfort food, like biscuits and gravy. And the name of the song is Midnight Radio. And in this video, they're making they're doing interpretations of like Steve Harris and Maiden, and they're reflecting all these bands from the 80s era. And it sounds literally like that song was recorded in like 1985. But this whole album has a little bit of that mid 80s feel to it. And it's just, like I said, this is comfort food to me. I put this on and it's just absolute comfort food. Incredible players. The head guy, Michael Dahl, has a very unique vocal style that absolutely fits it perfectly, though. But yeah, check them out. Really good stuff. This is on vinyl. This was limited to 300 copies, but I think you can get it. I don't think it's all that rare. I haven't really looked, but great album. Cool band. Very, very unique sounding band with his vocals. But
so yeah, Daniel was on this album right here, Confessions of the Maker. It was there. Here's a cover. I'll blow it up a little bit. So if you're into Lost Horizon, I saw there's some live footage online of him playing live with them, and he sounds, of course, great.
mm-hmm.
And total banger.
What is the encyclopedia have them listed as style wise?
They have them listed as fantasy heavy metal.
Yeah. No.
And this Confessions of the Maker is their fourth album.
Okay.
Their debut is only one review. Someone gave it 100%. World of Black and Silver. Which one is that one, Duane?
Starborn Traveler.
Oh, that's their latest, 2019. Right on. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that name perked. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
I know that.
Yeah, I know that. I remember that name from somewheres.
But that album, like I said, the way the band sounds now is not that. You know, they have it, I guess, as fantasy metal. That's interesting to me. That's power metal, and they started out like that, the very European power metal, and now it's more straight traditional metal.
So apparently, Daniel sings on that album, "The Wizard's Apprentice," on the one you just showed. So cool. Thank you, Mike, for the info. Cool show. Cool pull. They've got a bunch of records too. I mean, they're a band. Maybe
they've been around for a while.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
All right, Alan.
Okay, let's do another early 90s. This is their second album, but most folks really associate the band with what happened from albums 3 onward because there was a lineup change. But before Pete took over on vocals, Hypocrisy released 2 albums, and this is one of them, and damn, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not news to anybody, of course, but I always butcher the pronunciation of this.
Obscenum.
Yeah, there's too many obs and ums there for me. But yeah, and it just fits the mold of the other stuff I've been playing lately.
It's a wicked cover.
Yeah, wicked cover, wicked sound to it. Very dark, deeper vocals on this one than some of the others that I've been talking about tonight with Tiamat and Pestilence. But yeah, and they just again, they get that very oppressive sound. Hypocrisy to me has always been very, very. They're good most of the time. When they slow down just a little bit on their songs is when they get really deadly sounding. I really like it when they pull back on the speed just a little bit and get that crushing heaviness moving in. Yeah, just another, really fantastic early album with Nasi on vocals. But, after this one, he was out,
Went to Dark Funeral.
Yep, and did well with them for years. But, Tatrian took over. And I like, his era of Hypocrisy. Fourth Dimension has a lot of, great songs on it. I've talked about that one in other What's Spinning videos. And of course, they kind of went from strength to strength. I lost track of them for a while because they got to a little bit of a point where the album started to feel a little formulaic. It's like they're going to have two just flat out, flesh ripping songs. They're going to have a couple that really lean into the mellow death style. They're going to have one that's kind of laid back and a little droney sounding, and they're all going to talk about aliens and conspiracy shit. So I lost track at some point, but they still have a great catalog. Their most recent album from a couple years ago was really good. I was surprised at just how strong they're still going. But yeah, it's always worth remembering that that they have a different phase, different lineup early in their career, and these albums are really good too. Not to be forgotten, just because everyone maybe focuses in more on like the Abducted era. Hypocrisy. You can see a pattern to the stuff I've been playing lately. When it hasn't been Joy Division and Bauhaus, it's been, yes, Pestilence and Hypocrisy. Marty, let's see. Let's see. We're getting close to midnight. I've still got 3 or 4 left. How are y'all doing on your stack?
I've got one left.
One left. Marty, how are you doing?
I have a bunch left, so I can cut whenever you guys want to cut.
Okay, we'll do one, maybe 2 more, and find a good stopping point for Duane.
All right. Well, again, Corner Record Shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I snagged a copy of Motorhead's Sacrifice.
Good album.
Yeah, it is. I think this is Mickey D's first album with them too, isn't it?
I
could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right to me either.
I think he was on Bastards.
They also had We Are Motorhead, and they had one more of their albums there too, but I had literally a stack of CDs this big between all the stuff I bought for my kid and for myself. I remember this one being a good one. I mean, the song Sacrifice is almost thrashy. It's just got Mickey D is really laying down the speed on that one. This is a good record. I dig it. And there's like an era that the records are real hit or miss for me. So this one I remember liking. So I'm like, yep, for $7 it's coming home with me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So don't need to really elaborate much more on Motorhead. Motorhead's Motorhead, but
yeah, but no, that is a very strong album. That's also where they got some more exposure because they got on a little bigger label with that one.
Yeah, this is on that CNC International.
I am seeing it more and more and more and more every day about people now purchasing CDs over vinyl because of the price difference. I mean, it's insane.
Sad but true. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I disagree in any way, shape, or form, because I love now going to, for example, Obituary and Fenn. I mean, I got those out of the used bin for less than $10 for both. So do that on vinyl. Good luck. Of course, I still love vinyl as my primary, but man.
I used to be completely fine with CDs. I mean, I've got a bazillion of them. And I still am, but I mean, it's gotten to the point now where if I don't own it on vinyl, I don't feel like I own it. It's such a weird, like getting a cassette copy of something. It just feels completely throwaway. I could care less because I know it's going to get eaten or die someday. Thanks, Alan, for clearing that up.
Oh yeah, no problems. I just know because I played Bastards recently.
Right.
Or you can get really, really sick, like I do sometimes, and have to have the CD, the vinyl, the 8-track, the cassette, you know,
Oh
the
yeah.
laser disc, the Betamax, the VHS, you know.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. There's a bunch of stuff I have on all three formats. Why? Because well, as Alan would say, we share similar sick monkeys. Apparently.
Yep.
All right, Duane, what you got?
Okay, last one. Just because I was playing the Zymox stuff, just kind of put me in that mood, and so I ended up going back to some of the good stuff. So, Bloody Kisses, Typo Negative.
Right on.
First, still their best. October Rust definitely right there too, but I have multiple copies of this album from this band. I've got them signed by the entire band before Peter Steele passed away, thank God. And, to me, Typo Negative just does not age. It just doesn't age. I still put it on and it still sounds as fresh. They were so original. And now I understand. I'm hearing that Kenny Hickey is starting a new metal project. So curious to see what that's going to come to be. But Typo Negative, God love them. God love them. Love this album. Never gets old. So
Yeah, I agree. I prefer albums that came after that one, but it's still good. It's classic.
I've never dug into the band. I know the hits. They're another one of those bands on my list. Like, yeah, eventually I'll dig into them a bit and see what I think. But I don't know. Just don't. I had the best of, and
my favorite Typo
as far as I've
song
ever
is
gotten.
actually much later. But the song "Everything Dies" is probably my favorite Typo Negative track. That hits me strong.
I remember that one.
Yeah, incredible track. But Christian Woman, God, just so I love that band. So much stuff.
I got a promo for October Rust back in the day, and that's like every metalhead's Barry White record,
Pink Floyd.
It's just and I didn't care about any other Typo Negative until I read Jeff Wagner's book on Peter Steele's life. I read that book. I devoured that book in like 2 days, and afterwards I started picking up the CDs. I got that one. I got them all, and I gotta say that they're great. They were a great, unique band. And once you read the book and get the perspective, or someone's perspective, or
Marty,
Oops.
lost Marty.
Marty got too
this
excited.
mouse
There he
has
is.
got to go in the goddamn garbage. Brand new mouse. It's got this button on the side. If you bump it, it kills it.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. Yeah.
Whatever I was saying, I don't remember. So yeah, they're good. I'm a Typo fan now. So, yep. Okay. That was Duane. This is Alan. What you got?
All right, so getting to the bottom of the stack. I'll do this one. Another band that I'm trying to go back through the catalog because it's just been years since I went to the early stuff. They're still releasing stuff, and I still like it. But yeah, working back through Wolves in the Throne Room. So I could have pulled any of them. I pulled Two Hunters. I've always enjoyed this band. Kind of the archetypical Cascadian black metal. These days, you usually hear folks refer to them because and when they're talking about like Weakling or something, it's like, oh, they borrowed parts of their sound, which they did, fair enough. But sorry, this one's glaring really bad. Let's fix that. But yeah, they're never going to be my favorite band. But anytime they release an album, I will pick it up and see what they're doing on it. And I really have enjoyed the recent ones, but it's been fun going back and hearing like, this one and, Black Cascade. It's because it's probably been the better part of a decade since I played some of those albums. For example, I'd kind of forgotten that, for the first couple albums, I had, this, kind of formulaic template of doing, exactly 4 songs per album, where they were all a bit longer form. It's something they've drifted away from over time. I don't mind this format. They actually did pretty well developing their longer form songs. I think it was probably the right move to eventually quit doing that, though, and try different things with more songs, different song lengths and such. And like I said, I think the recent ones have been quite good. Two Hunters seems to be the one a lot of people keep going back to, and it is a very strong album. It's got one of their better tracks. The 4th one with the funny font on the back, I will lay down my bones among the roots and rocks. Is kind of the classic out of the 4 on this one in particular. But yeah, just again, trying to go back and hit some of these bands that I enjoy. But time goes by, you're listening to new stuff, you're picking up old albums you never got to hear before, and then you realize it's been 4 years since you picked up any of your old Riot or Wolves CDs. So it's fun to go back and revisit that stuff and hear it with a fresh pair of ears. So I guess I will. I'll end with that one tonight. Wolves in the Throne Room, Two Hunters.
Oh, okay.
So
Listen,
You guys can keep going. You don't have to stop on my account.
that's good. I mean, we're getting towards that midnight time where, often kind of feels about right to wrap up. Got to save something for next time too.
right on.
But
All right.
yes, Marty's under pressure to pick. Yeah, which child does he love most here to make sure?
I
He
keep
gets some
circling
screen
back.
time.
I keep circling back to this record, this Butcher record.
Oh yeah,
What's it called?
they're supposed to have a new one out this year, I think.
666 goats carry my chariot. What's the matter, little girl? Huh? This thing is awesome, thrashy black metal. There's like a catchiness in the riffs that reminds me a bit of Destroyer 666 at times, but it's just because they also have a very stately, triumphant kind of feel in some of these songs, and it is black and speed metal. It's really, really good. This album it's fun. I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not, but it's a fun record. Solid. And I'm also going to show this one. Ben sent me this. It's a bootleg. Hexenhaus, The Edge of Eternity. I have only have the album with the Sanity. It's called something Sanity. It's got the
In Search of Sanity.
In Search of Sanity, and it's got the same album cover that Morbid Angel, the same medieval piece that Morbid Angel used on Blessed Are the Sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that album is okay. This has Mike Weed in it, I believe. Am I wrong?
He does, very much so. Yep.
Yeah, Mike Weed on guitar. This is way better than the In Search of Sanity album. It just is. It's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more structured. I was surprised how much I like this one. Yeah. There's a bunch of other shit, but I'm always listening to music. Got to keep it pumping, but we'll call it here. Awesome. Well, everybody in the chat, it's been a pleasure as always. A lot of new people. Welcome. Cheers to you for hanging out with us and actually not being a wallflower and actually chatting with everybody. And Duane, what you got coming up, man?
Well, thanks to you guys for getting me to come out of the shell for a bit.
Hell yeah. Anytime. Always welcome. Always.
Well, thank you. So I've got a video I'm going to, I guess, film here in the next couple of days, thanks to Alan and you giving me the pressure to do it. So I'll get that done. For those that are watching, and if you're following my channel, it's going to be in relation to a nice big stack of new Wabam 7-inch singles that I scored in one auction purchase that was right place, right time, I guess, apparently. So we're going to go over all that. And then I still got to do that damn Blue Oyster Cult video. But yeah.
I'm still broken from our 6-hour Blue Oyster Cult stream that we did with Zoller. That thing was a marathon. Yeah.
Well, I've done the whole thing of the collection, the collectibles, the CDs and cassettes and all that. So I just need to do the vinyl, but that's the biggest portion. So it's just it's going to be a chore, but I got to get it done because then that'll finish it. I can move on. So got to get it done.
Right on. Okay. Well, everybody that might be new to the channel and don't know Lazarus' channel, the link is in the description. Please go click on it. He's an OG. He's one of the guys that I watched when I first decided to set up my phone and hit record. Definitely an inspiration. Great collection. In fact, this is his second collection. He lost his first one in a fire, unfortunately. So,
which,
part of
by
it.
the way, thank you, Marty, for saying that. And quick shout out. I'm hearing that everything with Chromie D is good. We're good.
Yeah, he said that they're all home and the house is still standing. So, to those that were wondering about Chromie, everything's good with Chromie. So, yep.
Good, because when I saw that, I didn't even know what to say because I was like, been there.
Yep.
And
it really his view on it was correct. I mean, what are you going to do? Save 50 records and you're always going to have those 50 records and the rest of your shit goes up. It's like, it might as well all just be gone. It might as well just fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The only reason my Maiden stuff and some of the other stuff was saved was because it happened to happen right when I was in the middle of moving it. So, but still it didn't, I wish, God, it had only been a week later, but I kind of did the same thing. I understood what he was saying because that's how I looked at it afterwards. I was like, that's why you guys didn't see me for a long time. I was just like, I'm done. Let's keep what I got left. That's it. And then
we all put a lot of worth on our record collection. We've spent our lifetimes curating this shit. It's part of us, and it's an extension of us. But when the rubber hits the road, let's be honest. Long as the dog, the kid, the wife, the family is all away and safe, it's ultimately at the end of the day just stuff.
Those are the things that you cannot replace.
Yeah,
that's what matters. Yep. The things you cannot replace.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so I was so happy to hear that he was okay and that everything's
absolutely.
Because what happened to me, I wouldn't want to wish on anybody. So,
Phil rules. We gotta get him back on here. He's had a lot going on. We'll get him on here again for sure. But no, it's good. It's good that everything is good and solid up there, up in Labrador. So, Alan, what you got coming?
Oh, I don't know. I've been making a lot of videos, so it's kind of now which one to put up when. As I mentioned, working on a Royal Hunt discography go through, a House of Lords. Going to walk through their discography, try to get some people turned on to that band. And yeah, a few other ones here and there. So when Tuesday rolls around, there'll be something new for folks to check out on their commute or lunch break or whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, usually Let's Talk Metal is my Tuesday morning coffee and email time. So
mine too. When I wake up, I'm laying over in bed watching. We'll see what Alan's got going on before I do even get out of bed. So it's like,
every Tuesday.
So if you're not familiar with Let's Talk Metal and you're new to the channel, go check out Let's Talk Metal. It's Alan's channel. Every Tuesday he has a new update up. Amazing collection. Just like Duane, he's got a lot of bangers, a lot of really great collectible records, and he knows his shit 100% for sure. But
yeah, Alan's channel, to those that don't know, let me warn you now. The problem with Alan's channel is that he likes to drop sound bites when he talks about this crazy new Wabam single from 1982. And he'll play the sound bite, and you're like, damn, that's good. I got to go find that. eBay, $385. What the hell?
That does happen sometimes. Yes, I do always try to point out if there's if there's an anthology or some kind of reissue for folks to get, because I know that can be frustrating for folks, and there's a lot of that stuff that can be got on reissues now, but every now and then there's one that's is a bit harder to track down, but I like to make sure folks get a chance to hear it, check it out. You can always listen on YouTube for free. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you what you got me listening to again that I hadn't spun in a long time, and I was like, oh my God, Alan, thank you. Broke his helm.
Yeah,
they're great band.
Such a fantastic band, and never get any love. I mean, they do, but you don't. It's not a name you hear come up as much as it should. They just played live in Finland recently, I believe.
Really?
So I mean, they still get out and do a show here and there.
Should be nice if they cut something new.
Yeah, you'd think they could get a fourth album out in 40 years, but hey,
God.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But hey, they've got 3 bangers. Great catalog for sure.
They've got to have some stuff stashed on tapes somewhere.
You'd think you would, because I also kind of assumed they got involved with other projects over the years too, and they really didn't for too much. There's a little here and a little there, but it's not like, oh, we couldn't do Broker's Film because we were all in these other giant projects, and just never had time to circle back to it. So, yeah, they just, pretty laid back release schedule there.
Right on. Okay. Everybody, thank you so much. Little bit of show
How
note
about
action.
you, Marty, what do you have coming up?
You're looking at it.
What's the next record for the album club?
Wednesday night. Yes, we've got
Logan has joined the crew.
Logan has joined the club, and he picked Weed Eater, God, Luck, and Good Speed or something. I can't remember the name of it.
Nope, you nailed it.
So we're going to be talking about a Weed Eater album, some stoner sludgy doom stuff, and this has been a busy week for Heavy Metallurgy. We put up a lot of reviews this week, and there's been content every day except for Thursday.
I was going to say, there have been a lot of reviews.
And there's a lot more coming. I still have 3 more in my queue to edit, so there might not be another one until Monday, but lots of stuff coming up, everybody. And check out our reviews. We've been having fun with those and trying to share some news with you guys. So,
I watched Alan's today, and that album's. I got to get that. And then
the Iron Flame.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
Yeah,
for sure. Then, good band.
Yours too, Marty. The Ogden
Ogan.
Yeah, that was a good review too.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. So,
and actually, speaking of Iron Flame, I'm in talks with Andrew. He's trying to figure out a day. He's a Friday. He's available to come on the show again. So it'll be his third appearance, and we'll have a lot to talk about with Iron Flame. So.
It'd be great to talk to him when we can get him on the calendar. Yep, he's a busy guy. Because they're gearing up for some live shows too. So he's got to stay on top of that.
Yep. And that's it. And next Friday is still open. But we'll get there. And everybody, you all rule. Seriously, Duane, you rule. We love having you on, man. Anytime you're available, we'll get you on again. In fact, we need to talk about that afterwards. But cheers, everybody. We will see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good one.
Peace.